my name's Kétlye. I'm from North Carolina. I'm 24 years old. And honestly, I'm not going to lie. Part of me was like, when we connected earlier, I think in April, part of me was like hoping that I would not, I guess part of me would change my mind in some way. I know what I noticed a lot, at least from some of the videos that I've seen, that some people, it seems that like they're kind of not past it, but almost kind of in a way. It feels like it's like something that happened or like they've in the past, but I feel like this is still current.
Yeah.
And that's what's pretty annoying. I thought things would change. And again, that's why I pushed it out kind of in the summer. I was kind of hoping that things would like change where it's like, you know what? Actually, Dev, I don't want to come on. Mm-hmm. But alas, we're here. So I'll just really, I think the best way to tell everything is like literally just go like how I grew up and like where we're at today. So I'll just give like a little bit of foundation, just like, you know, my parents, they were both in the military. My dad, he was in the Army for 25 years. My mom, she was in, I want to say maybe for 8. And that's how they met. My mom, her mom is from Haiti. She came to America, I think to Brooklyn when she was about 16 years old. And my dad, he's from Mexico. And he came when he was around 5. He came to California. But I guess I just talk about like how it was for me growing up. You know, I feel like it was kind of like not a pure militant household, but I know like I was taught like respect, you know, like yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. Even like my mom hated when I said yeah to her. Like sometimes she would literally, this is what she would say. She's like, if you say yeah, it might as well be saying like, yeah, bitch. I'm like, I've never said that to you, right? But she would take that as that. I feel like looking back, I feel like most of my life felt like a punishment in some way. The way certain things that I would do, like when I would get in trouble most of the time, right? It was like in school. I feel like I was always talking. That's all my teachers would say. Ketlye's just talking too much. She's a social butterfly. But I was never like purely disrupting the class, but just the punishments for it were just, I felt like it was just like a little too extreme for what it was.
Like when you would get home, the punishment? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Like most of the times it was like, I remember, I can't say like what my first memory of was like getting like beaten at home, but like I just know that most of the time when if I'm in trouble, you know, I'm going to get a spanking, you know, from my mom. And just a little bit more background. When my dad, I would say most of elementary school, he was deployed. I think he deployed kindergarten. He was gone for like first grade, and I think he was gone for most of third grade. I remember my sister, she was born when I was in the third grade, like in September. And then right after she was born, she left. But like basically it was really me and my mom growing up most of the time. You know, it really was just me and her. So I felt like we just kind of grew up together. But again, like the punishments were just, it was just too extreme. I feel like something I told you, like, for example, like, and I can't tell you like what exactly I did to receive that punishment, but I know like multiple times, like, again, we would go in her closet, and that closet maybe would be like how long this is, maybe felt confined. But yeah, she would put on the music again, like a Marvin Gaye's Got to Give It Up, the extended version. That's like, I want to say at least 15 minutes, maybe 16. And she would like spank me the entire time. And we're not talking like soft hits. I mean, like it was bad. Like I remember screaming. It felt like hours, but I mean, it was minutes, but still like 20 minutes, just nothing but like getting hit. You know, she would talk to me kind of in between, like, or like yelling. She'd be yelling at me, like, I told you not to do this, you know, like just kind of berating me right there. Nothing like, she wasn't like disrespecting who I was, at least verbally, you know, but I just know she was here. Yeah, it was just too much. I remember just like screaming and like hoping that like, honestly, like I was thinking like, how do neighbors not like hear me screaming and stuff like that? And it was really difficult. Again, like it wasn't often that I was in the closet, but you know, we were in there, and it wasn't just to like Marvin Gaye. I think there was some Beyonce song. I couldn't tell you what it was. Do
you think she played the music to like drown you out?
I think so. Because I mean, if you heard me, if anyone heard that, you know, they'd be concerned. Yeah. You know, the house we lived in, it wasn't a 2-story house, had like a few bedrooms. I would say, I guess her closet was like in the back of the house, kind of. So, but also there was times where I wasn't in the closet getting beat, and that was just happening. But it wasn't always just me getting spankings, getting disciplined. I think other times there were definitely different forms. Sometimes my mom would like make me write sentences. I think some of them would be like, I will not lie to my parents. My mom used to say like, Ketlye, you lie for like dumb shit. And I can't even like remember what I was doing. I don't remember like stealing. It might have been like, did I do a chore or like, did I not do something? Well, I hate that I can't remember like what it was, but I remember the punishment, right? So I remember one summer, I don't remember how old I was. I want to say I was definitely in elementary school, but in one summer, I wrote like probably like 2,500 sentences. I think every day it was just writing sentences all day. Sometimes I would get to sit down and write the sentences, but like one time I would have to like, I was in like the kitchen and she'd be like, stand up with one foot, like, like 90-degree angle, stand up all day and like write the sentences. There was times where I had to eat just like that, Though my only breaks were like, I guess using the bathroom. Pretty much, I never got breaks from that. Like my solitude would be in the bathroom. And then, of course, when I would try to go to bed early, oh, I'm tired. There was also times where I wasn't writing sentences. It was just, there was a corner, I remember it was the corner like at the bathroom in between like near her bedroom, literally just like, I'm in a corner like that, put my head in the corner and just stand like that all day, leg up all day. Like, again, my only breaks would be eating. Sometimes I would get to sit down and sometimes not.
I have a couple quick questions.
Yeah.
One, would she ever do these things, these forms of punishment when your dad was home, or was it worse when he was away?
I think it was worse when he was away. I wish it was easier to remember, but I feel like a lot of the time it really was just me and him, or excuse me, me and her.
Yeah.
And, even if he's not deployed, he's in the military, so he's gone from sun up and he'll come back maybe, I think he'd come around 5 or 6, but I still think that he was in the home, and we'll get to it later, but there was times where other things were going on and he was in the home. He retired when I was in the 5th grade, so there was still, there's much more to come. But like, yeah, it was crazy. I would be able to talk to my dad a few times. I forgot like the platform, but this was like maybe once a week. It would be on Skype or we'd be like chatting, but I'm not talking to him about what's going on. I'm just like, hey, here, I just know my dad's somewhere. Yeah. I know he's somewhere dangerous and I just want to be able to talk to him.
Right. And then you said you have one sister?
Oh, okay. So I have 2 siblings. My sister, she's 15 now. And then I have a younger brother. He's 4. He was born in 2020. So that was new.
Okay.
And then I have 2 older brothers from my dad's previous marriage.
Okay. Because I was going to ask you, was the abuse mainly focused? Is it okay to call it that?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Was that mainly just done to you?
Yes. My sister, she's autistic, right? I wouldn't say she's like, she's really independent. She's never had like anyone one-on-one with her.
Okay.
But I think, honestly, as a kid, I think part of me was kind of like not jealous or mad, but like she never got anything close to what I got. And like, as I'm older now, I don't want that for her. No one deserves anything. But when
you're younger, it's confusing, I feel like, to understand. Like, I feel like too, it's easy as a child to blame yourself and be like, what's wrong with me? Like, am I so bad? Yeah, 100%. And I remember my mom, she used to get mad at me just because, it's so funny looking back now. She would like make it a point to say, like when I would get in trouble, my mom would hit me. I think she would hit me in front of her, or at least like berate me in front of her, if she's going off on me. But when Sully knew I was about to get in trouble, she would cry. My sister would cry. Like, and my mom would point that out. She's like, your sister's like crying when you get in trouble when she sees that, but you can't like, I think she wanted me to be there for her in some type of way. And I wasn't saying like I wasn't consoling her. But like, when my mom, if she got in trouble, it wasn't like crazy, but I would kind of just remove myself from that situation in a way. But, and even like my brother now, he's 4. He doesn't, nothing like that. And if I saw anything like that, no, because like I remember when my brother was born, like when I first found out my mom was pregnant, I was mad. I was really mad. And part of it was just like, looking back, I kind of wanted a way to like distance myself from my family in some way. But like, I can't be away from my sister for too long, right? But like, okay, here's a younger brother. I'm going to have to like be there in some way. I'm going to have to interact with my parents. I remember one of my first like big punishments, I think, at least like for what I did. So like what I did, right? In the first grade, my dad was gone. And so in our classroom, we had like 2 desktops, right? It was kind of like a small library. People would go there to take their like AR tests, and then if you wanted to read. And so there was like a bookshelf, and people could like lean your backs up against it and read there. And you know, I love to read, right? So I'd be there as a kid, and I don't know how it started. I can't remember. But this kid, I can't remember like how he initiated. Basically, he was like, you know, if you don't like touch me or let me touch you, I'm going to tell your mom. I'm going to tell the teacher. And in my head, I'm like, well, my mom's already crazy, right? So I'm not trying to get punished. So like that kind of went on for maybe a couple months, I think. I mean, I don't know how long that went on. I mean, I know at one point we had a new student, and he was trying to like include him on that. And I was just like, dude, if you do that, like we have to keep it between ourselves, right? So imagine like bringing someone else to it. So I was kind of against that, but like it's still, and even as a kid, like, what are you doing? You know, like I was like, what, 6, maybe 7 years old. So it was just like, well, this is happening. And then I remember one time, another new student, I think he saw something. And I remember one time we went outside for like recess, and he was telling us like, I'm going to tell the teacher what you guys are doing. And he would like run up to the teacher. He's like, Miss So-and-so, Kétlye and Kevin. And then he would run. And then, so it's just us like chasing him. And from a distance, it's just like the other kids are like, well, why are they chasing? So then next thing you know, the entire class is just like running after him. So no one knows what's like going on. So of course the teacher's like, well, why are you guys like running from each other? Like, what's going on? So I guess, you know, he tells her. And then I remember my mom picked me up from school that day. And I remember the teacher like told her what happened, but I wasn't there. Like they were talking, and I just covered my ears. I didn't want to witness my mom like hearing that. And I remember that drive home. That was like a really long drive home. Like, but it was only like maybe 20 minutes. And like, she didn't say anything until right before we got in the neighborhood. All she said was like, you know, when you get inside, she was like, when you get in the garage, you need to like take your clothes off and meet me in the closet. And I don't remember if I was like fully undressed, but I know like I didn't have like any bottoms on. And I mean, she whipped me for that. And I remember thinking like, that wasn't like, I didn't know what to call that, but part of me was like, I don't feel like I should be punished for this. I don't really know. I don't even remember having like a full conversation about it. And again, maybe we did, but I can't remember. But like, I remember the belt landed a few times on my private area. I don't remember if it was on purpose, if it was on accident, but I know that happened. And it was just, that's like one of like the first like significant like punishments I can like remember. It was just like, it just didn't feel right. So that's just one thing.
And I think too, you know, it's so sad because in moments like that, that's when you should be concerned and talking to your child about what's going on, not punishing them for it. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just, it's heartbreaking because I feel like it makes you, you know, in a situation like that, especially when you're so young, the best thing you can do is talk about it. You know, so that you, I mean, you're still so young at that age, but so that you can somewhat understand and know what, like, you're taught what's right, what's wrong. And because when you're that age, it's just so confusing. You don't, it feels wrong, but you don't really know what to call it or what's going on. You know, and then I think getting punished for it, once again, it kind of goes back to what I said of just feeling like everything's just your fault.
Exactly. And then like my mom, I'm pretty sure she gave me like a talk like that, like going into elementary school, right? Like, you know, like stranger danger, you know, no one should be touching you here. But like as a kid, you know, they tell you about adults. They don't tell you if another kid is what to do in that situation. I think that happens a lot more than we think, and it just doesn't get talked about. It's either like brushed under the rug, or, you know, some people just don't talk about it at all because it's just like,
oh, just kids being kids. Yeah,
exactly. And I was just like, I think that's still considered like molestation. Like
100%.
Yeah. And like I mean,
you were threatened too.
Exactly.
Like, so
yeah. And like, I didn't really talk about that. Like I went to therapy for the first time, I think like in 2022, and we talked about it, but I really had to like accept that like, oh, that happened. And it's just like, but I also think too, like, you know, what was that kid seeing, you know, for him to, cause you don't just do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the teacher kind of like failed in some way because there was no like investigation done. It was just like the teacher told my mom. And something I left out too. What's funny, right? When the teacher's like, well, we're going to tell your parents, you know, and the kid was like, well, my mom already knows, so you ain't got to tell her. And in my head, I was like, man, that's a good idea, right? Just because like I thought she believed the lie, but like she didn't. But I don't remember talking to him about it afterwards. I know that the rule was like, they don't need to interact. It was like we were in the same class, but like they don't need to interact at all. And we didn't. Like we didn't sit next to each other. We didn't talk to each other. And that was pretty much just like the rule for like the rest of the school year. And I don't know like from when like it got found out and how much longer was left during the school year. But yeah, that's just like one thing, right? Is we have so much more to go, unfortunately. Yeah, I think my beatings were worse through elementary school. And again, I feel like I was always in trouble as a kid. That's why it's so hard. I can't remember like
pinpoint.
Yeah, like why did all this start happening? But if I got in trouble, I feel like most of it was at school or it was like my chores weren't done. And like I remember the summer of going to second grade, that was when my mom introduced me like, okay, you're going to clean the house. And I remember I was scrubbing baseboards with like a sponge, you know, in a bucket, you know, just I kept that house clean. Like I would do that. I would dust the windows. I would dust the blinds, dust the fans. I'm cleaning. We had the first house, we had 2 bathrooms. So, you know, I'm cleaning those. I'm vacuuming everywhere. Like that house was spotless, you know, like it was a lot. And I guess, I don't know if my mom was trying to like instill in me, like, this is how you keep like your area clean. I don't know if it was like some type of discipline in a way, but what's so funny now, like I don't clean how I used to 1000%. I don't do it. I don't do it like that. It made me like hate doing stuff like that. But I clean up my mess, you know, but yeah, just again, if something wasn't done the right way, you just do it all over again. I remember even introducing me to ironing, you know, and there's nothing wrong with like making sure you're like presented correctly, right? But like for the week, like on the weekend, I would iron all my clothes out for the week and show them to my mom. You know, if something was wrinkled, do it all over again. And to me, some of the stuff looked fine, but I don't know. But, and it's hard to like I don't even know if complaining about that is like, I don't know if the word's valid.
I don't think it's a complaint. I think it's just like another example of just like how things that like those are not things that should matter. You know what I mean? Especially when you're a child. Like it's one thing to teach a child something, but like you shouldn't get in trouble for anything like that. You know? Yeah. So and that's the thing too. You know, I want to mention too really quick in case I forget by the end. But you know, I feel like there are a lot of people that come on here, and it's kind of this full circle healing journey. You know, where it's like they come and they tell these traumatic parts of their life, but now they're in a place where they're healed and they're doing so much better. And, you know, healing's not linear. Yeah. And I think that there's just no right or wrong time to tell your story.
Yes.
You know, just because maybe you're not at the healing place that you plan to be for yourself.
Yes.
Eventually, doesn't mean that it's the wrong time to share your story. I just wanted you to know that. Like, you know, like I think, and there's people that probably like to listen to the full circle of, you know, somebody coming out on the other end of things. There's still a lot of people that are very much still in the trauma that they're dealing with. And I think that makes you and your story so relatable as well.
Yes.
So I just wanted to mention that to keep in mind.
Thank you for saying that.
Of course.
Yeah. Sometimes another alternative, you know, my mom, if she didn't want to like whoop me, you know, like I would be outside like picking the weeds. And my dad, he had this tool where it had like spikes and you could like jab it in there, and then there's like a part where you press your foot, it's like metal, and you like push it down. It made it picking weed so much easier. She's like, no, you don't get to use that. So like I would have to, it's summertime. I'm out there. And again, I can't remember. I wish I could like remember like what I did to like do that. But I don't think it was anything too significant. I think I can say that, especially summertime. I'm not in school. So what am I really doing to like get in trouble? Again, elementary school was like just a lot of, I got spanked a lot. It just happened. Like sometimes, I think I remember one time, again, don't know what I did, but like she hit me with the belt and I think the buckle, like it flew out and like it hit me on the head. I remember like in that moment saying like, oh my God, like that hit me. Right. And I know I might've been the 3rd, 4th grade. I'm not sure, but I know enough like that could hurt someone. It could kill someone. I don't know. You hit me hard enough, I knew it was wrong and she didn't care. She was like, you think I care? I don't care that it hit you there. And I was like, well, okay. Right. I remember as a kid, my mom, like, I love wearing, you see, shorts and t-shirt. I like wearing comfortable clothes. That's all I really need. And I remember, I feel like growing up, I felt like a doll a lot. Like, I remember my mom would have me dressed up all the time, whether it's like in a dress, a skirt, some like really nice outfit. And I'm like, I'm not complaining. Like my parents, I'll say this, they provided so much for me. I've never gone hungry. I've never known what it's like to go without at all. I've never experienced anything like that. My parents, I wouldn't say they gave me everything I wanted for, but like they made sure I had good clothes, good shoes, like good everything. I was never like uncomfortable and like in a sense like that. But like, I hated the way my mom used to dress me as a kid. Like,
it wasn't you.
No, it wasn't. I would tell her that. I'm like, I'd rather just wear this. I remember, like out in my head, I was like, why am I so dressed up on like a random Tuesday? Like, I'm just trying to, when I would go outside and play, like I was playing football with the boys. Like I was out there and like people would want me on their team to play with them. I was trying to play. I'm a kid. And the times, I didn't wear stuff like that, of course I was most comfortable. But I remember it felt like my mom didn't want me to do like anything adjacent, like with anything considered boy. Like there's been multiple occasions where like, well, I'll just say this. I remember one time my mom, I don't know if she had to go to school or work or some appointment, but she left me with one of her friends and her son, right? And we went to daycare together. We were cool. And, she took us out. We played with him. We went shopping, went to like a Roses or something. And she's like, pick out whatever toy you wanted. And I got like some type of action figure, something that was considered like a boy toy, right? And, I opened it, played with it until my mom got back. And then once she saw it, she took it. I think she made her return it or my mom threw it away. And that has happened on multiple occasions, like so many times. I remember in the 2nd grade, how they do like the book fair and they'll let the kids like go through it, whatever. And my mom, she told me, she was like, I will take you shopping for the book fair after school. But they took us during class and I had some chump change in my pocket. I don't even think it was the money that she planned on using. And well, it might have been. I was able to buy like 2 books. I got like a book I think I got 2 books about like cars or something. And I didn't tell her about it. So I just left the books in my backpack. And I remember waking up the next morning. I'm like, they're gone. I'm like, and it hasn't even been 24 hours. And I remember she was so mad and she was like, you can't be buying this stuff. You were supposed to go with me. And so she made me, I remember that, I think that same day, she like made me return those books. And I had to get like these 2, I can't remember the name of them, but it was about this girl who like, she was in the 4th grade. I think she just moved and she wanted to catch so bad. It was so funny. But like this, not something I would read. It's just, not something I related to either. Yeah. It's just like, I don't care about this. I wasn't.
Like you couldn't have anything that you couldn't be you. You couldn't have the things that you liked. It was like she was controlling your personality, like all of that stuff.
Yeah, she just hated me doing anything that wasn't feminine. Honestly, it was my hair, you see how it is now. My hair used to be so long, like past my bottom. Maybe I'll get to show you guys after, but like my hair was so long and like I feel like she put a lot of value. I feel like my femininity was tied to my hair a lot. And you got hair. It's a lot to manage. It's hot outside and no one's trying to do all that. And it just like, I hated the way my hair felt on me. I remember like, in order for my hair to like look good, had to wet it all the way, whatever, moisturize it. And I remember just like being so stiff, like walking around, going to school or wherever I was like that. People loved my hair. I always got so many compliments on my hair, right? And I didn't hate it, but it was just like, I didn't feel me all the way when it was out. One of my friends, I remember in the 3rd grade, he had to move suddenly. His family's in the military. He had to go all the way to California. And I remember he gave me and like some of our other friends like toys just to like remember him by. I think he gave me like a stormtrooper, and my mom took that. She took it.
Yeah.
I'm like, my friend just gave it to me, and I'm not going to see him again. So just
anything that would make you happy, you were just stripped of.
Pretty much. Yeah. Like, and I don't know why she wouldn't just want to like, see me just be happy, like, and thrive in the things I wanted to do. My mom, she put me in cheerleading. She says 3, but like I can't imagine just being 3 years old, doing cheer, but that's what she says. So I was like 3 or 4, and I did that for about, I want to say from like then, I think I stopped 3rd grade. And, I hated the ritual of like getting ready for competitions at least. Like they had this full glam, and I'm just like, I remember like,
terrible.
It is. I remember almost crying. Like I hated, we had we had to wear this sparkly glitter. I just like hated the way it felt when you put it on, 'cause it's like wet. And I would have to I would lay down and my mom would be like above me. And it wasn't like, she wasn't hurting me in this process. I just know I hated it. I think like I just had to hold on to her and like just try not to cry when that was getting done. But even though cheer was crazy just because like some of the coaches were like low key verbally abusive. My friend has to like remind me of like she said that they were throwing water bottles at us when we were flying. And I don't remember getting water bottles thrown at me. But I mean, they were yelling at us, they were crazy. And I wanted to play basketball. Like I think I just kept begging her to play. She finally let me do it. I played my first team like in the 2nd grade, and that was fun. I was like glad she really let me. And then she let me, I think she was a cheer mom. That's what made her the decision to like let me leave, because she got to see the behind the scenes and like how the coaches treated us. Yeah. And she was like, okay, like this is a lot. I remember one time during competition, like part of my routine was like to do like a double back handspring. And I always nailed it. But one time my hair, it got in the way. So like as the first flip, it was wrong. And then the coaches were mad. Like, you should have just stopped after the first one. But I'm like, it's so routine. Of course I'm going to do the second one, but they chewed me out. And I'm like 8 years old, maybe 7. They're like cussing me out. And mom was like, okay, if you want to stop, you can stop. And I was like, yeah, let's cut this. So I guess we can get out of elementary school now. But when middle school, I had like moved to elementary school, you're with the same people, all 5 years. And so me going to a different school, it was just kind of different. But I was learning to adapt. In 6th grade, I don't remember getting in a lot of trouble. 6th grade, I don't know if I got any spankings then. 7th grade, I think because when I went to 7th grade, I had to move to a different school, and that's where I met my girlfriend. But yeah, so I just knew.
You guys met in 7th grade?
Well, we met in 8th grade, but we weren't even friends like that. Okay. And I will definitely touch more about it during this. But yeah, she like we weren't cool like that in middle school.
Not yet.
But I just thought like I'm coming to a new school, so it's like my mom told me this is the chance to like clean slate. And one thing she brought up too, which was funny, she was like, aren't you glad that stuff that happened in 1st grade didn't happen like in middle school? Because more people can like talk about it, or it'll be more remembered. And I'm like, I guess. But like, it was weird that she brought that up at that time. But I was like, yeah, I guess you're right. Clean slate. So I don't remember like I did my best to not like get in trouble, at least like at school. Now there were a few times where like, I was talking. Well, no, there was one example in 7th grade. I think my English teacher, I was probably talking in class, and she's like, one thing my mom was really involved, like in school. Like she cared. She does a lot more than some parents do these days anyway. But she would tell the teachers, don't hesitate to email me. You can email me anytime. If Ketlye's acting up, I'll be there, whatever. And yeah, I remember just one time like talking, the teacher's like, well, she's emailing my mom in the middle of the class. I'm like standing at her desk, and I'm like, I'm probably 13, maybe 12 or 13. I'm like crying. I'm like, please don't. Like, I'm like begging her not to. And I don't know, I feel like as a teacher, like, I don't know if she just saw like, okay, Ketly's just in trouble and she's like, she don't want to get in trouble. But I'm like, if someone's like that distraught at that scared age, like maybe you shouldn't, or maybe just that, like, that teacher never like tried to talk to me about like anything. I feel like if I was a teacher, I would like try to make sure the kid's okay, or like get a sense of what's going on. Cause again, like, kids that are like acting out, there's usually a reason for that, right? So it's like you would want to at least like, let's get to the root of the problem, or what can I do to make it easier? I don't know. But I didn't like the way she handled that. I think I got a spanking, but I can't remember. But it wasn't good. I don't remember feeling good. But then, were you gonna say something?
No, okay. You're good.
I think like the next, like another like severe punishment I remember was in 8th grade. So this is kind of how we met. 8th grade, lunch table, I would trade lunches with her and her friends sometimes. Like, it was almost every day, like we had something to trade, right? And I remember one day Jasmine didn't. She said she didn't. And it was just odd because I was like, we always have something. And so I remember after lunch, she left her lunchbox in like the next class that I would go into. And so I don't know, I was just over there and I saw like it was like a full box of like, was it fudge? Hot fudge? Like hot fudge sundae Pop-Tarts. And they were like at least like.
Those are good.
It was good. Yeah, I remember I saw it. I took a pack and I gave it to I was like, this is my other friends, y'all want some?
Yeah.
And, I remember I ate that pack like as soon as we got in line to go to the next class. And then not even 5 minutes into like the last class of the day, the teacher that the class she was in, she comes in, she like swings open the door. She's like, who ate Jasmine's Pop-Tarts? Who stole her Pop-Tarts? And I'm like, oh no. And so then, of course, I didn't say anything at the time. And then I remember basketball tryouts or like warm-ups, or workouts were go on. So I go to the gym, I change, get in the gym, and then I see like the teachers and like my coach. And they're like, what do you think we're about to ask? I was like, yeah, I stole the Pop-Tarts. Yeah, I did it. And so we were given like ISS for like a week. But my mom, of course, she finds out I get in trouble. And so she goes to Walmart and gets a box of like the Great Value brand cinnamon flavored Pop-Tarts. And remember, she sat me down at the kitchen table. She gave me like one bottle of water, the whole box. And she was like, you need to eat the whole thing in like 30 minutes. And like she was sitting there with the belt. And I was like, And I mean, I obviously didn't like finish it in 30 minutes, but like I was getting hit during that entire time. She wasn't like, I don't remember if she like forced that in my mouth, but like, again, like you need to eat these Pop-Tarts, like it's dry. It's the Great Value brand. It's cinnamon flavored Pop-Tarts. You couldn't even give me the same box, the flavor that she got. But like, that was just rough. It was rough. Like, yeah. And again, I got hit during that entire time. I don't remember if I finished it, but that was just rough. And like, my dad was home. I think he was. He might have been, I think he was upstairs, but he definitely knew what was going on. Yeah. I think he did know. And I'm definitely brought it up to him like later. But that was like one thing. And I was like, this is kind of out of the realm of the norm, and even like what I experienced growing up is not normal at all. But I was like, why am I being forced to eat this food? And then we get to high school. I feel like high school got better. I wasn't getting like in trouble as much. One thing I'll say this. I think my mom, like, I felt like isolated a lot. She would never let me like in the summertime, I never saw anyone. It was just like I'm hanging out with my family. And it was lonely growing up. I wanted to be able to hang out with like my friends and stuff. And I have my sister, but there is still the age gap, right? But me and my sister, we had each other. But it was very, even like in elementary school, I couldn't get to hang out with anyone. So it was just like no one would know certain things that would be going on. It just felt really isolating. But high school, I did get disciplined, but it wasn't like the beatings I got as a kid. What that transitioned to, we'd go in her bathroom, and again, I can't remember what I would do. I don't even remember getting in trouble at school like that, because I feel like I mellowed out in high school. But, you know, she would be like, you know, have your hands out, and she would have the belt and she would just hit them back and forth, you know, like alternating. And like after like a few hits, I mean, it hurts. It's not like I mean, there would be, you could see how the belt would like wrap, or you could see it wrapping around like the welts on my arms and stuff like that. And again, I don't remember how often it was, but that it happened. It 100% did happen. I think my last like lashings of those maybe stopped at sophomore year, I want to say. And then, yeah, I don't think I got any more beans with the belt after that. But high school was different just because like I was still wrestling. Like I think part of me knew that I was gay when I was younger. I just didn't know like what to call it.
Yeah.
And I remember 8th grade, I was like wrestling with like maybe labeling myself as like bisexual, just like giving myself maybe a chance to date a man. But by the time I got into high school, like I had a boyfriend in 8th grade, it really didn't matter. But yeah, by the time I got to high school, I was like, okay, I know that I'm gay, and only like a select few friends knew about it. But I was just like, I wasn't ready to like come out. I wasn't. This is like, I'm like 24, so we're like 15, 16, like my freshman year of high school. And then I remember my junior year of high school, I had like my first girlfriend. And that's when everyone like knew. It wasn't like a big coming out thing, at least like friends, not my parents. But that relationship was like a secret. They didn't know about it. That wasn't really like a real relationship, honestly. You know, people, it was funny. It felt like everyone was just waiting for me to say it, and they already knew. So, you know, had that relationship junior year of high school, ended that same year. And then senior year, you know, I had a girlfriend. I would consider that my first like serious relationship. And of course that was, my parents didn't know. Her parents knew. They were cool about it. Didn't matter to them. And, you know, I remember my girlfriend had came to the house like a few times. I think for Halloween, like her and another mutual friend of ours, they like came to the house. We're like, oh, we're going to go watch TV at someone, like watch a movie. And Mom was cool with that. She didn't suspect anything. But I remember, so this is where we get into like what's been going on like then and now. It's like more relevant, I guess. So Christmas Eve, she came over to give me my gifts. And it was just like as a friend, you know, she came to the house. We had like 3 things for me. And, you know, we hung out. We were in my room for a little bit. And then my mom, she wanted, I think she was making Christmas cookies or something. And she's like, you know, you guys want to go to the store and go get this for me? She let her go with me, and we did. And then the end of the day kind of winds down, and her parents come to pick her up. And at some point, I think I had to use the bathroom. And I come back downstairs, and my mom's like, you know, do you want to go to their family Christmas party? And I was like, you want to let me go? Because I didn't get to do stuff like that. I was surprised she would let me. She was like, yeah, go ahead. And, you know, had a great time there. Met like all her family for the first time. You know, I had a great night. And then, you know, I come back and I could tell like my mom, she just looked annoyed. I like something was off, but it wasn't like out of the norm. I think my mom would like, her mood would kind of fluctuate. So I was just like, you know, this is just mom having an attitude. I don't know, whatever. I had just had a great night. And I remember one of the gifts she gave me, I was like, just hold it. I looked too happy for her. And I could tell like, I don't know if she suspected something, but I don't know if she put 2 and 2 together. But basically, you know, Christmas morning, my mom wakes me up at like 7 a.m. She's like, come downstairs. I'm like, all right. And I see my phone on the counter, and I was like, And I knew she went through my phone. There was nothing like inappropriate in there. Pictures, you could tell we were a couple, right? And we weren't even texting each other's numbers like that. Cause another rule I had, right? When I had a cell phone, the rule, I was not allowed to text friends. I wasn't allowed to have any type of communication with them at all. I've gotten my phone taken multiple times because of doing that. So I would text people on Instagram. I hid Instagram from my parents from all of high school. I had it. And I understand the reasons of like not wanting your kid on social media, but I had no one to talk to. If I didn't do that, I wouldn't have been able to talk to anyone. It really just would have been me by myself. And so, but that was deleted. She didn't see any of that. But back to the point, she had figured it out. I knew she did. She sits me down. She's like, my dad's there too. And she's like, what do you think we're about to ask you? And you can already tell she had been crying. And I was like, yeah, Mom, like, I'm gay. Like, it's true. And I can't remember how the rest of that conversation went, just disappointed in some way, but it's just why, Mm-hmm. And a big thing they use it to this day, but they were so mad that they said that I betrayed them because everyone else knew but them. And I was like, okay, well.
But in what world did they set up a relationship that made you feel safe enough to go to them?
Exactly. And I've told them that, right? But it's
you were beat over small, stupid stuff. So of course, if you came home with that, I'm sure you were terrified.
Yeah, and that's literally, I was 17. I literally feared for my safety. I was I'm not. I didn't tell you guys out of protection of myself, and also that aside, when someone's, if they're not ready to talk about that, they're not ready. It's not your story to share or to know. And again, and I told them, I was I was afraid of your guys' reaction. And they're like, well, how did you expect us to react? And I'm like,
accept me, maybe?
Yeah. But I think deep down, I knew that it wasn't going to go that way, but I didn't think it would go to what I'm about to tell you. So the rest of that, it was so funny because right after that, we still opened presents and my sister doesn't know what's going on. And my brother's not here at the time, right? So it was just it was really weird Christmas. I remember we were supposed to go to my uncle's house, supposed to be this big thing, and this just totally ruined it. But that night, she was she wouldn't let me sleep in my bed. She was like, you're not sleeping on the bed. You're sleeping on in your room on the floor. And I was like, okay, I don't know what that has to do. Me sleeping comfortably has to do with that. But I'm like, all right. The first night I slept on the floor in my room. But then from pretty much probably a day or two after that till March 2019, I slept on the dining room floor. Every night. A few times I would I know I'd ask my dad, hey, can I sleep on the couch? And he's like, yeah. Or I wouldn't ask and I would just do it. And I would wake up in time to go back on the floor, when I knew they started getting up. But I was just
would she let you have a pillow or a blanket? Yeah,
she told me only one pillow and one blanket, but I'm like, dude, I can't do that. I would get and I'm using the pillows, something like this with what's on the couch. I would I remember I would just try to get enough to cushion my entire body. So maybe 4, maybe. I don't think she knew that because she never. And if she, you can see me on the dining room floor walking through the house. When you come down the stairs, you take a left. There's the kitchen, and then you look, and it's the archway of the dining hall. One of the entrances in there. So again, if she saw me, she did. If she didn't take it away. But still, I'm on the floor. And even then, it wasn't. Those pillows didn't help. It was
And also, it's such a bizarre punishment.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Get it. It doesn't make any sense. It's cold too. It's winter. Another thing, of course, I knew that my phone was gone. She took that. I was still kind of I wanted to apply to more colleges. I'd only applied to one and had gotten into that one. And I was still kind of debating if I wanted, I don't, also you're 17 and you don't know too much about the college application process. At least not as much as I do now. But again, that costs money, if you don't apply during the free application week. But I feel they didn't want me. My mom was she's not going there anymore. And my dad was gonna use his GI Bill to pay for at least the first year. And she was she's not going there. She's just gonna party. She's gonna experiment. And I'm I'm going to do that anyway, kind of.
Was it a local college?
No, this was East Carolina in it's Greenville. It's still in North Carolina, an hour 45. Not far at all.
So it would have given you some space, though.
Yeah, for sure. And it was never, when I was talking about college, it never mattered to them where I went, vicinity. Okay. So it wasn't, they're if you want to stay here, go local, that's fine. But if do what you want. But I remember and I wasn't part of that conversation. That's just what I heard through like a closed door. But so for the longest, like, I didn't know I was going to school. We didn't because, you know, you get accepted, then you got to pay the acceptance fee. And that fee didn't get paid till like the last day. And I think that's like February. I think March, maybe. But I think February is like the deadline sometime in there. So like for a long time, I didn't know I was going to college. Didn't know what I was going to do. Again, I had played basketball all my life, you know, second grade, through middle school, through high school. I took a break my junior year because I really just needed a break. And then I remember it took they had the coaches looking for me, like, Ketlye, you need to come back. And I did. And, you know, we had basketball workouts, like winter workouts during break, because we had like games when we came back. And I remember, like, you know, it's time for like a workout. And I'm like, oh, well, I was driving a car too. They took that too. I wasn't allowed to drive the car. And I was like, well, can someone take me? And my mom was like, you're not going to the workouts? And I was like, okay. And then by the time school started, she was like, you're not playing. You need to tell the coaches, like, you're done.
And this was all because you came out to them.
Mm-hmm. And she was like, don't tell a coach to call me because it's only going to make it worse. But she was like, you need to tell them that you're not playing. And that was just like devastating because one, like, I was not at all like the best player on that team. I started, you know, every game, but it was like, what are we doing? Like, you're taking away, now you're affecting them, you know? And it wasn't right. I remember talking to my coach and he was like, is that it? And I was like, is that the reason why? And I was like, yeah. He's like, please let me talk to your mom. And I was like, honestly, man, I was like, I think you're going to make it worse for me. And he didn't know at the time what was going on, you know? I skipped a big thing. I just remembered.
Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah. And you can say, like, go back to wherever it fits in. Just say it.
Okay.
It'll be fine.
Yeah. One time I was 16 and my mom was gone for the day, and I think she was like hanging out with my grandmother doing so. They're gone all day. And my dad, he was sleeping. My dad works hard. You know, he sleeps, and waking him up is kind of like, I don't want to disturb him because, you know, military PTSD. Like he kind of wakes up fast. My dad, like, sometimes
ready to go.
Oh yeah. Like sometimes he's like scared, and I don't want to do that. So I saw, like, we had like a pack of like Klondike bars in the freezer, and there were only like 2 left. No one had touched them. I could like comfortably say for like a month, right? And so I didn't want to wake up my dad, and I'm like, I wasn't trying to call my mom because she was like out, you know, with my grandmother busy. And so I ate one, and I forgot to throw the trash away. And I think I left it on like my dresser. She came home and she saw it. She's like, well, what's this? I'm like, oh, that's like ice cream trash. I was like, I'm sorry, I forgot to throw it away. And she's like, well, did you ask for it? And I'm like, no. She was like, I was like, you know, Dad's sleeping and I didn't want to bother you guys. And she was like, so you're stealing? And I was like, no, I'm not stealing. This is like, I live here. Like, what are you talking about? And she got, there was like 2 more left, and she force fed me, like holding me and just shoving it down my mouth. I don't remember if the belt was there. It might have been, but I don't remember getting hit with it. I'm not sure. But she did that, and then she went and got like not even open, like Haagen-Dazs, like coffee flavored ice cream, and she got a spoon and she like force fed me that till I threw up. And I'm like 16 at this point, and I mean, like, I still see 2 stains on the wall in my bathroom to this day, you know, and that was like, what, almost 10 years ago or something. So again, that just shows like the type of like things she would do to me. And like, I remember like that happened. And then I think I told my friends about it. Like, I don't know if it was like right after, but I did tell my friends about it. We were in class, and, you know, I told my friend, and she's like, that's abuse. And she like told the teacher. And I remember that this was her first year teaching too. And, you know, she told her, and her face like went really pink. And she was just like, I was like, listen, like, don't worry about it. Like, in that moment, it was like, it looked too stressful for her. And I was like, and I think I knew then, like, you know, teachers are like mandated reporters, but I was just like, don't worry about it. Like, don't let this stress you out. And looking back, I'm like, man, I wish like someone did like do something. But
I mean, in that moment, once again, you were just scared.
Yeah, 100%. It was just, again, just odd that why are you force feeding me? You know, like that was just, especially at that age, like I was.
It's just a very excessive forms of punishment for things that aren't worth punishing.
Yeah. And like, if you wanted me, it's not like I was like eating like all the food in the house, like taking away from them. I was never like hoarding anything. I didn't have any problems. It was just like, this is an ice cream bar that no one had touched in a while. I ate one.
Yeah.
And it's not like, we're not poor, you know, like if you wanted to get something, buy another box. And even then, if you really wanted me to ask, you could have been like, Ketlye, next time, just
exactly.
ask. Cause again, like I don't even think I was like in trouble, like before that. So for her just to like go from just coming home to like force feeding you ice cream is crazy. So there was no like build up. It was just instant. But back to senior year. So, couldn't sleeping on the floor, the car. So I was in dual enrollment, like my last 2 years of high school. In my senior year, I didn't have those classes every day. So sometimes they had a bus that would take you to like the community college, and I would take classes there. And I think like 3 days a week, I didn't have classes there. So what I would do, you know, second period's over, I'd go home. And the drive from like the school to my house is like maybe like 5 minutes, depending on traffic, maybe 6. I'll be nice and say 8, right? But car got taken. Mom's like, you need to walk home from school. And I'm like granted that the way that school and like the surrounding neighborhoods it's set up, if you wanted to walk, it was somewhat safe to do it because you could like, the easiest way you cut through a neighborhood, and there's like another elementary school in that neighborhood. You cut through there, you know, there's a crosswalk, and a majority of that walk was done through the neighborhood. And then I'm probably on the main road for at least 5 to 10 minutes maybe, and then I'd be in my neighborhood. But like, I'm walking home. You know, it was maybe like a 30, 45-minute walk. But like, I'm like 17, I'm by myself. There was a time where like one guy like slowed down. It was really weird. And I was like, nah, you can't. This can't happen today. But he like drove off. And I do remember one of my like, this girl, we weren't even like cool like that at all. Like, I think we just were like mutuals. She might have done track, but that wasn't someone I would go out my way to talk to. And I remember one time I'm walking, and I guess she was with her dad in the car, and she made him stop. She's like, hey, can you like give her a ride home? I don't even know if she like knew what was going on, but she's like, hey, can you give her a ride? And another one of my friends, you know, like I think she gave me a ride like 2 or 3 times. She's like, hey, I'll take you home. I did track pretty much like a majority of my life. I did track through middle school, through high school. I've gone to states for it one time, and like I didn't get to do track my last year. That was something that got taken away. I didn't get to go to prom, which is like, I don't know. It doesn't, in the grand scheme of things, it's kind of like small, but I didn't get to go to that. My mom, at one point, she told me, she's like, I'm not even going to your high school graduation. And I was like, well, okay. At that point, I was like, man, I don't even know if I want you there anyway, you know? But, and also, from the moment once everything like came about, she wouldn't talk to me. Like imagine like being in a space with someone living in like no words. Like we didn't talk. I don't think she like spoke to me again maybe until March. And I say March because that's when I got my first job. I was like, they're like, if you get a job, you'll get your stuff back. So I was like, okay. During the break, because you know, winter break's like 2 weeks. So I was like just ready to go back to school, honestly, because it was just like lonely. I'm literally like going through all this and like no one knows. And I remember one time, I was telling you about how like she would make me iron my clothes. That stopped. I think that routine stopped by the time I got to high school. At least like I didn't have to show her. If I probably still like picked out my clothes for the week and ironed them, but like it wasn't like a big deal at all. But then all of a sudden she was like, you need to show like show me the clothes that you're wearing for the week. You need to iron them. I'm like, we haven't done this in years, right? But I'm like, whatever. So iron the clothes, show them to her. and I bring out my jeans first. And some of my jeans had like holes in them, nothing like too revealing. If anything, most of them were like below the knee. And she was like, all of a sudden, she was like, why do you like, I don't like your jeans. Like you need to give me all your jeans that have holes in them. And that was like a majority of like the good ones that like still fit that I consistently wore. And at that point I was just so like frustrated because again, a lot happened in those like short span of days over break. And, you know, I come back and I like just like kind of throw the jeans, and she's like, I don't even like remember like what she's saying, but like I said to her, I was like, what is wrong with you? Like, why are you doing this? It was just so much for me in that moment. And it wasn't, I don't think I ever like questioned my mom and like how she disciplined me, because it was like, that's going to make it worse, right? It was like, you better just like take it. Cause like I would never fight my mom back whenever she would hit me, any of those. I remember my friends, they would tell me like, you know, I would run away. I would try to grab it. And I'm like, my mom would like, I say kill in like a figure of speech, but like as a kid, you know, to maybe think that is not out the realm. Or maybe, I don't think it'd be crazy like to think that as a kid, like, because if my mom punished me like that, imagine if I like fought back, right? So I remember, again, I was just so upset. And I don't know how we like got to the hallway. I think she followed me into her room to like she was like taking my clothes. That's what she was doing. And I don't know who put hands on each other first. I don't remember, but like, I just remember like us like kind of grappling each other. And I know my hand kind of got hurt in the process. It was like swollen for a little bit, but I don't think we like connected. It was like, I think I had her against the wall. We were kind of just grappling each other. And then, you know, my dad came over and he did break it up. But, yeah, like senior year was like really bad. Like people, you know, your senior year of high school, it's like, it's the last moment with like, you know, some of these people I haven't seen in person since then, you know? And, you know, your senior year is supposed to be like a good year of high school. And it was so bad. Like it was like everyone knew, like, cause again, like everyone knew me playing basketball. It's like, why isn't Ketlye playing basketball? It was just kind of embarrassing. Like what's going on? Like even like some teachers knew. And I remember like, I didn't want to walk home every day. And so what I would do sometimes is like stay in like a teacher's classroom until like the end of the day. And then I could take the bus home. But I remember they were doing something new my senior year, like testing, like a free period, but they had like different activities you could do. I don't even know what I chose, but someone noticed that I wasn't in where I was supposed to be. And so I guess they called my parents and they're like, you know, she's not here. I don't know if there was like an all call on the intercom or something, but I had to go to the guidance office. And I remember going, she was like, we have to call your parents. I was like, no. I was like, just let me walk. I will walk home right now. Just let me walk. She's like, no, we can't let you walk. Like, I have to call your parents. And I was like, just like crying to her. I'm like, please don't. And again, that was another opportunity to like tell someone what was going on, but I didn't. I was just like, you know, my parents found out I was gay and like, it's really bad at home. And she was like, well, no, they'll come around. It's going to be okay. But again, like, I don't know if she should have just asked more questions or why didn't I don't know why I didn't say anything. That would have been like the time to say something, but it was like, and I mean, even in that moment, like, why didn't I say anything as a kid? You know, like I still look back now. I'm like, I should have like told literally anybody.
Because to some degree, that's all you knew.
Yeah.
Like even though you knew it was wrong, that's all you knew.
Yeah. I know that they called my dad just because it was easier for him to come down and get me because he lived, or his job was so much closer, probably like 15, maybe 20 minutes from the school. And my mom was like in a different, like a city kind of, not outrageously far, but still not as close. But she was just like, you know, again, she was like, you know, your parents are going to come around one day. And I was like, okay. And I believed her, you know, she's like, these are just kind of like growing pains right now. You're 17. And I was like, fine. But I remember my dad, he picked me up and he was like, he was so mad at me. He was like, this is your fault. Like you I have to come down here and get you. We told you you need to walk home. That was the rule. And I'm like, if you just give me the car, let me drive home. And again, I wasn't like driving to go hang out with people. It was strictly school. If my parents needed me to run like a minor errand, that was it. So it wasn't like I was taking it for leisure anyway. But I'm like, if you just this isn't, you guys made the decision to take the car away. So like this really isn't my fault. But I remember I got in like a lot of trouble for that. I got my phone back right when my first job was at KFC. And that's when things kind of got a little bit better. I figured out, I was still going to be able to go to school. Right before they paid the acceptance fee, I was about to enlist in the Air Force. I was like, taking to recruiter right now, I'll just do that. Sometimes I wish I did. But I wanted to go to college. Part of me just needed to get away.
Yeah.
Honestly. And, I don't remember when my mom, I think she said like a few words to me after I got my job. It wasn't like consistent. I was bringing, food home for us still. I guess things did kind of get better. At least like I got like needs back, right? Yes. I got some type of like dignity back. I got to sleep in my room again. But even with that too, like I wasn't allowed, because my bathroom was connected to my room, and I couldn't use that bathroom either. I had to like brush my teeth, like shower, and like you basically use their bathroom. Like I didn't get to use my bathroom again.
Why?
I don't know. It was part of this. That was part of the same punishment. Like I didn't get to my room. I think I had to like change in like my closet. And that was it. Like my room was just storage for my things at that point. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I had to be in the room. But I'm trying to think what else, did anything else happen like crazy senior year? The transition, I'll remember this. When we were supposed to do like, orientation from college, both of my parents were supposed to come with me. And it was just my dad, me and him, we had fun, had a great time. He got me like a few things from my dorm. And I remember, I think we had like some more financial aid stuff to like settle, and whatever it was, I was just, we come back and I'm just telling my mom, I'm catching up, like, we did this. I think I might have needed something else from her. I don't know. But she just seemed like genuinely just disinterested. I'm like, it was really, I don't even know if hateful is the right word to use, but it was just like, she wasn't interested. And I think I said again, like, what's your problem? Like, what's wrong? Maybe like, why are you acting like this? I don't know. But then from there, she told me, she kicked me out. Like I packed like, I packed my PS4, I had like a blanket, a few other things, my phone. And well, she took my main phone. I had a backup phone. I had, like old phones my parents like I had previously, and like they didn't know I kept it. And I was able to hide it. I had like a bunk bed in my room, and there was like a little, like the bunk bed, the bottom one was like, it would come out this way. And then the top one's the one that's like horizontal. And like that space, I would just hide it there. They never found it. Thank God. Because that would have been my tail really bad. But, so I had my backup phone. I had everything in there. And at first she's like, no, you're not taking anything. But like, she walked away and I just took my stuff.
Yeah. And where did you go?
Yeah. I was just like, I walked, I think my dad had to go do something real quick. I don't know where he was at, but I walked to one of my friend's house. I knocked on her door. She didn't answer. So then I walked to another one. So it was kind of like diagonal. And, I texted my girlfriend like off the phone, like, hey, like, can your mom like come get me? And she was ready. And so I'm in my friend's house. She's telling her what's going on. And I'm probably there for like 20, 30 minutes. And then my dad, he came over there and was looking for me. I think my friend's mom came at some point. But even then I wonder, like, she didn't question too much either. It was just like, oh, Ketlye's here. And I used to go there. My parents were kind of acquainted, right? But my dad, he was like, is Ketlye here? And she was like, yeah. He's like, Ketlye, come on, let's go. And, we walked back home and like nothing else was pretty much said of it. It was just like, okay, I'm back. But, transition to college was like, it was good just because, I got to get away. I had a whole other community. I remember one time, I went home to visit. I went to the city to visit. I didn't go home to visit my parents. It was like, I think I was celebrating like an anniversary of my girlfriend at the time. You know, her mom would pick me up. She went to a different college too. She would drive all the way. She would go like Greensboro is like more north. And then where I went, East Carolina is on the east. So she would drive everywhere and bring us back home, right? And I remember one time, I guess I didn't realize my parents had my location until way later. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And I guess my mom told me, she was like, you know, you were out and someone I knew saw you. And they're like, oh, Kelly's in town. And they were like, oh, we didn't know. And they were like, they called me upset. You came home, you didn't visit. I'm like, one, I wasn't there for you. You know, why would I visit you? Like, we like leaving. When my parents dropped me off on like move-in day, like I remember we have pictures, right? And it just looked like, I just came across it recently, a picture of me and my mom, and we just looked like kind of not mad at each other. It was a really grim picture, right? Mm-hmm. Like part of me was, I think I only like one tear came in my eye, move-in day. Cause like it was kind of sad, but I was like, you know, I'm out of here. Yeah. Right. And you know, my mom, I remember she folded my clothes and all that. Like it was, my mom, it's hard. My mom can like be a really, it's gonna be crazy when I say this. She can be a really good mom sometimes, but then like you see everything else and how she like really drops the ball, like really bad. But it's like it's just hard because I get the love for her that I need sometimes, but then it's like when you don't like who I am as a person or for some reason, and it's really conflicting. That's why it was like that move-in was a little rough, but right. I mean that during me and that girl, we were together for about 3 years. And they made that relationship like really hard. Like, you know, I was driving the car. I didn't bring the car with me for college, right? I think the first like 2 years I would come home for breaks and still stay and work. But, you know, and when she was back home too visiting, she only lived like 20 minutes from me, but they wouldn't let me drive the car. Yeah. I wasn't allowed to drive the car. I think the first year or two, they wouldn't let me drive the car. Her mom would have to come get me and bring me in. At my curfew, you had to be back at the house by 12, which is like, I get it. I'm still living at home, whatever, be back by 12. But like that was it. Just, they never met her again, you know, after that.
There was just no interest.
None whatsoever. Yeah. Like no, that relationship was like really private. Yeah. At least like in regards to like, even my mom, like she didn't even want to hear like what, sometimes if we went out and I tried to tell her what I did today, she was like, well, I don't want to hear it. My dad, on the other hand, here's what's crazy. My dad has a gay brother and sister, and my mom, she loves them both, but she's more like closer, like with the brother, which is insane, right? Yeah, they're cool. And you know what's so hard about my dad too? It's like, you know, and he doesn't care about his siblings being gay, but it's like, what's the issue with me? And like even then, what's so weird is, and I get we've talked more about my mom, but we haven't talked about him. But it's like, he's told me he doesn't care, but like, if you don't care and you accept me for who I am, he's like, you know, Ketlye, we would meet your girlfriend, or I would do this for your girlfriend. I don't care. I'm like, okay, then if you feel that way, what are you telling mom? You know, like I feel like in a marriage, and you know, there's this issue going on with our kid, and like if we have two different ideologies, then like, how is that not like stopping what's going on? I don't know how it's like a cohesive, like healthy marriage. Mm-hmm. I don't know, but the dynamic just doesn't seem right when it comes to this situation. And he still has never given me like a straight answer ever. But we would, you know, I would come home visiting sometimes, and me and him would go get like lunch, dinner, whatever, breakfast. And we would have these talks, you know, and I brought up things to him, even the stuff from first grade. And I was like, Dad, and I really tried to like set it up for him. I was like, Dad, like the reason why I didn't tell you guys, like, you know, I was 17 again, just protecting myself. What was I supposed to do? Yeah. Like all I could think about was making sure that I was okay. And it seemed like he understood. And I was like, Dad, like me not telling you guys wasn't malicious. Like that was not what it was. Like for those first, I want to say 3 years, like after all that happened, I did my best to like put myself in their shoes and like, you know, man, like they really felt hurt that their daughter didn't tell them this thing. And I felt like I kind of understood, okay, they're not
they want to be a part of this, and I didn't let them in, and I didn't trust them to. But again, like, why would I trust them, right? But I was really trying to like rationalize it, because like, even though my parents like do some really crazy things, like, I love my family. Like, I think, again, my parents, they don't know I'm on here. I don't know if, when this eventually comes out, if they'll see it. Again, this is however it happens, it happens. But it's like, I hope they know, like, if they do come across this and they watch, I hope they watch the whole thing, is that like I love my family. Like, after, and like, so I'm not even done talking yet, you know, about everything. But like, I feel like I've exasperated all my options to like make sure we have a relationship. Because like, I love my parents, even though there's so much bad, there's still a lot of good too. But it's hard to like see. I remember like one of my first early therapy sessions, my therapist, she's like, you know, name like a good memory you've had with your mom. And like, in that moment, I sat there for like 30 seconds. I was like, I can't think of one. And I remember telling my friend after about it, she was like, she brought up something that I told her. I'm like, man, I couldn't even remember that. Right. Yeah. And it's just like, it's just sad. Like, I really, like, I love my parents. I do, even after all this is over, however it looks in the future, like my parents, they care about me. And I see how like kids, like, at least like how the kids like now, and like how parents like aren't involved and like not the way they should be. My parents did everything to make sure I had like a good, successful future. And I recognize, I think sometimes they don't like, they think I take it for granted. And like, I don't. Like, I know the sacrifice they had to make to where we are today. But like,
well, I think the thing is too, is like, there's this internal battle because they are your family, and you have such a genuine soul, you know? So it's like this conflict of, I love them, but these things were done that I know are wrong. Yeah. You know, and like, I almost feel like it's harder because you don't just have this clear hate for them. You know what I mean? It's like, I love you guys, but you hurt me. Yeah. You know, and I think too, you can recognize that in some areas and aspects, they did do their best, and that's great. Mm-hmm. And you can be thankful for that. But then there's also these areas that were not okay. Yeah. You know, and no child deserves that. Yeah. And just because you do good things, it doesn't balance out the bad.
No, it doesn't. And you're right. It's like, I think these last few weeks, since we connected, you know, I reached out to you. Like, it's been such like a tumultuous summer. But like, again, like going back, they made that relationship just hard. And like, I remember, you know, we broke up, and I was able to kind of tell my dad, you know, talk to him about it, but it just, there's nothing like talking to your mom about some things, right? Like, it's different when you talk to your mom about things. No, I wouldn't get too personal with her, like, about certain things. You know, I told her when I would go out, what I'd be doing at EC. You know, one time we were in the stadium. We had to like run from the cops one time. You know, I told her that. Mm-hmm. You know, the little silly story, right? And I was able to like comfortable and tell her that, you know, nothing crazy happened. We didn't get in trouble, I promise. Mm-hmm. But like, you know, we broke up, and I remember that was like, that summer we broke up was also kind of like the first year I had, that was my first like school year of like, I lived on campus, I had an apartment, right? And so I was like, I knew I couldn't go and like deal with the breakup at home, especially like, cause for a month, I gave myself a month to like find a job. And if I couldn't, I was going to go back to my home job back with my parents. And I remember coming home one time, and I told my mom, I was like, you know, things have just been like crazy. And like, you know, me and her, you know, we broke up, you know, I mean, that was like a 3-year relationship. You know, I took it seriously, and it meant a lot. And like, you know, that was a moment you needed like community or something, right? And she, to my face, she was like, you know, she's like, I don't care. And I was like, oh, like I was like low key crying in front of her. And I was like, you know what, actually, you're right. Cause why am I about to tell you? Like, you don't care at all. And, you know, that was a pretty tough year. I dealt with that. I had my friends, you know, I had my community, but like, I dealt with all that on my own. And I feel like in a moment like that, you would like need your parents for like.
Well, I think too, you know, everybody wants their blood to be their biggest support.
Yes.
And I think that there's, in therapy, I've even been taught that, sometimes people's families, they don't act like family.
Yeah.
And it's okay to realize that sometimes your family isn't going to be your real family. It's going to be your friends. It's going to be people you meet throughout life. But that being said, that doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt when your family doesn't act the way you wish they would.
Exactly. Yeah, it was kind of hard seeing, like I saw like my ex's family, like you could see them have like a normal family dynamic, and like you see how easy it is, and it's like that's how in your head that's what you think it's supposed to be, and it's just like when you don't see that and you see how hard they make it, it was really just interesting to see the parallels like between us two.
Sucks.
Yeah, it really does. But I would say those two, I was single for like 2 years, and I would say like that was like, I felt like we were really like preparing our relationship. I feel like I gotten closer with my mom. It was really good. I remember my senior year of college, my mom, my grandmother, and my sister had came to visit me in January. They have never, I think my family visited me one time in college, and it was like maybe like in November of my first semester, or in the spring, but they came and visited me, but that was it. And it was just like a big deal. My mom, she got a hotel, and I showed, and my grandmother I've never like given her like a true tour of my campus. Like, this has been my life for the past like 5 years. And, I had a great day. We went out, got some food. And I remember, college is rough. I was paying my own rent. My parents, they helped me pay rent like twice, at least like the full coverage for like my first apartment. And then once I got the new one, prices went up. I was like, guys, listen, I can't, if you want me to focus on school, but I also pay for most of my things, like I can't do it all. I was like, I asked them, can you guys pay half my rent? And that was our deal. I think I paid the full bill myself a few times that year, but it was like, I remember my mom was there, and when I bought groceries for myself in college, it wasn't like a haul. It was just what I needed. It was rough. It definitely I had food security growing up, and I wasn't saying college was like terrible. I was able to eat, but like one of my buddies was in ROTC, and for a few days, she gave me MREs, and I was eating. That's what I was eating. Mm-hmm. So, I wasn't telling my parents what I was going through, because I also kind of didn't want their help, because it was like, I don't want help. I don't want to feel like more in debt to you and hold something over me. So like a lot of the stuff, they didn't like know what I was going through, but I made it out, and it's fine. And I know I'm not the only one who's had to struggle like that through college. But I remember my mom, we went to Walmart, and she probably got me like almost $300 worth of groceries. And I'm like, hugging her, like crying. I'm like, just like, thank you. I'm just happy that you're here. We had like, that was a really good time. And like and then we started talking December 2023, and we talked for a few months. And then like once.
Were you still in college at that point? Or
yes. Okay. Yeah. I was in college for 5 years.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So we were talking for a couple months, and then once it got close to graduation, I had known that I wanted to make it official. And I was like, okay, let's do this the right way, right? The whole reason why they were upset is because I didn't tell you guys. So let me kind of do this. So I was like, hey, I'm talking to someone, and it's going really well. Told them a little bit about her, brought up the Pop-Tart story, and that how we were connected in that way. And I was like, I plan on making it official soon, and I wanted to let you guys know. And I had them like on a 3-way phone call or something. And my dad was like, Ketlye, that's cool. Tell us more about her, whatever. And my mom, she was listening. And, it was okay. And then like, I can't remember I think I told them after graduation. And I had an internship. It started in June. And I remember I went home like for one of the last times just to hang out with my family. Because my internship was in a different city, closer to where like probably still like an hour 45 from home. But I knew I was going to be busy that summer. And me and my mom had just like went to my grandmother's house, and we're on the way back. And I was like, so mom, like, how do you feel? Because we didn't really talk much more about what I had told her. And I remember she she's like, Kelly, hold my hand when I say this. And I'm like, okay. And she was like, and I don't know who brought up a wedding. Like, I don't think I did. She was like, I'm not going like to your wedding. And I'm like, okay. Like, I don't remember me bringing that up. And then like for the next like few minutes, it was kind of just like a weird conversation. I can't even like remember all of it. But I mean, she was kind of telling me there that I think she did say she don't think she was going to ever like accept it. And it still like rubbed me the wrong way. I know I didn't like that conversation after it happened. And then like after my internship was from like June to August, and I hadn't gone home. I could have went home. My internship was remote. I could have been home so many times. And and mind you, this is last year. Just more context. This is last summer. So I just kind of stayed away, just doing my own thing. We're like building our relationship. I'm experiencing these new people. My internship was great, by the way. I love my internship. In the beginning of the summer, they told us that like at the end, once you guys are all finished with your internship, we're going to have like an end of summer celebration, right? And I remember them telling us about it. And I did tell my parents about it. I think I told them the dates too, but they didn't seem like too into it. So we just didn't, again, I was also just busy too. So we didn't talk about it again. And then I remember my mom called me one day, I want to say like in July. And she's like, I got this letter in the mail. It's going to be an end of summer internship or the celebration. Like, we want to come. And I'm like, I remember thinking like, how'd they get the address? And then I remembered that when like our orientation for like the organization, they had us they wanted us to put our addresses down. And like, I didn't want to put my old one from school because like, I'm not there anymore. And I didn't know the address because they put us up in Airbnbs, and I didn't know that address at the time, right at the top of my head. So I just put my family's down. I wasn't really putting it together. I just wrote it down. And so I was like, okay, that's how she got it. And I was like, hey mom, like, I would love for you guys to be there. I'm going to let you know that my girlfriend, like, she's going to be there. Like, she just is. And she's just like, oh, well, I don't know. Like, I have to like rethink some things. And I was like, okay, fine. And then she calls me like, or she texts me the next day or something. She's like, here's what we'll do. Me and your dad will come, but we're going to like not talk to you. Like, we're going to come and like sit in the audience and like not say anything. And I was like, okay, that's just like weird because one, like I was kind of part of it, the ceremony in a way, because like we had like, I was like in a play. It was kind of part of it. I was doing work with like farm workers, and like I was like in a theater group, and we would go to the farms, like perform for the farm workers, get some information about them, get to know them, speak to them. And it was a really like, that organization was just really intimate. That was a really family oriented. And it was just like people's parents were coming out the cut to come out of there and like be there. And, I was just like, you guys are going to be there and like not talk to anyone. Like, people are going to come up to you and ask like, well, who are you? It just, the dynamic of just like them coming and not talking was just weird. And I was like, I told them, I'm not going to ignore her to like please you guys either. I didn't want to put her in like a weird situation either. And my mom was mad. She was like, well, she was mad that I hated that idea. And she's like, well, if it's like that, then we're not going to come at all. And I was like, just hurt, because I think in college, I was also in ROTC, and that just didn't work out. And I felt like a lot of like milestones they were supposed to see, they didn't get to. Like, the only thing they got to see was my graduation, which is fine. It's still a big deal. But I felt like, and when I was getting awards in school, my parents would come, and it just I wanted them to be there and like see it.
I think too, it's hurtful because it's like you're really gonna let your own views on my sexuality stop you from being a part of some of the best times of my life.
Yeah. Like I like last summer was just like, I felt like I had like a purpose, and I still do, but it was also just like me discovering, okay, like what do I want to do like as a career, right? I really, again, I loved, last summer was really good. And I was just so upset. And I remember, my mom said that we're just not going to come at all. And I was like, okay, fine. And then I remember the next morning I was on social media, and like this person who was like, I think we might've gone to the same elementary school, but we had a lot of mutuals on Instagram, and he passed away on his birthday, like car accident. And, we had just graduated too. It was just like, I saw my whole like city mourning, which is really sad. Just terrible to see. And I remember just like, I was just crying because I was like, I don't want to like I don't want to fight with you anymore. Life is obviously too short. This dude just graduated right along with me 2 months ago and now he's gone, right? And you can see how it's affecting everyone, even affecting me. And that man probably even remember me or knows me like that. And I called my mom and I was just like, hey, like, this is what I saw. I'm like, Mom, like, I don't want to fight with you. Like, just come to the ceremony. Like, I just want you guys to be there. And I don't know how it got from like me just talking, crying regularly. And then like, next thing you know, I'm like, just like going in on her. And I just like, I was bringing up stuff you did like in my senior year of high school, like just bringing up all how you treated me awfully. And I was just like, I was like, you think I want to be yelling at you like this right now? Like, I got a ceremony coming up. The next week, my internship, they flew me out to Chicago and I was able to like, we had like a conference going on. I had like a part in that. And like, I was trying to prep myself for that because that was also like my first time meeting everyone except my supervisor, like in person. And it was just like, I'm not trying to have this right now. And
also, it could be so simple.
Exactly. Just come, come and sit down. And it should just be,
besides that, it's like, whatever you love, they should love.
Exactly.
And I think and that's nothing, I'm saying this to you and for anybody that's felt this way, but it has nothing to do with you.
Yes.
Like, people that act that way, they have some sort of trauma, misery, bitterness, whatever it is, or whatever the reason, whether it was something that happened to them when they were kids or whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. Like, that is all a reflection of them. And it's sad, but none of that is because of you. And you should never have to change or adapt to make them happy. So this is not their life. It's your life. And just because they brought you into this world does not mean you live a life serving them.
Exactly. Like, I think like that was like really like my boiling point. Because I told her, I was like, the easiest, no one's saying like, we got to bring Jasmine to the house right now. Like, I was like, the easiest thing you could do is you walk in there, you say hi to both of us,
just support.
And then go sit down. Just be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
so did they not end up coming?
No. Mm-mm.
Have they ever met her?
No. Mm-mm.
And you guys have been together for how long?
About a year and some change, a year and a few months. That, when me and my mom had that argument, I was actually supposed to go home for the first time for that summer and like visit everyone. And then I ended up not, of course. I still went. One of my same buddy who was in ROTC, who gave me the MREs, I stayed at her apartment because she was stationed out there. And then, we hung out and my grandmother's close by. So I went to go talk to her. And my grandmother, by the way, like, she supportive. I think so. Yeah. She hasn't met Jasmine. She was actually recently like spoke on the phone with her, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But, I've been able to talk to her about like what's happened. She knows everything that's going on and she doesn't understand. My grandmother's from Haiti, Christian woman. And like, if she can like be normal about this, why can't you? Mm-hmm. And, I talked to her and she was like, she calls me Junior. I'm named after her. So she's like, Junior, just, if you really want them to come, like maybe just apologize for like, cause it did, again, I don't know how it went from like me and my mom kind of just talking and I just like, it got really aggressive, but, well deserved though, honestly. And she was like, just talk to them, like tell me, I really want you guys to come. And I did, I texted them. I have a group chat with both my parents. And I was like, listen, like, I'm sorry that things got out of hand. At the end of the day, I really just want you guys to be there. So if you really don't want to say anything, fine, can the three of us just go get dinner or something after the ceremony? And my dad texted me on the side, outside the group chat, and he was like, Ketlye, I'm not mad at you. We'll try to figure something out. Like, I don't know what's going on with your mom. We'll figure something out. And I was like, you're right, Dad. Because even when I was in trouble, like with my mom, it was like, you did the worst thing in the world. And there was like some tension afterward. Me and my dad, up until kind of now, we would, if we kind of got into it, we would always be able to come back from it relatively quickly. And I was like, Dad, that apology was mostly for Mom. I know how me and you were okay. And then, so the next morning, I'm at my friend's apartment, and I wake up and I get a text from my dad. I wish, no, I don't need my phone for it, but because I won't be able to find it. But he basically says like, Ketlye, I know part of the deal after my internship was like, if I couldn't find a job or anything, I could stay at home until I found one, right? He was like, I know we said you could come to the house after, but your lifestyle, it's like, it's too stressful for us. We can't deal with it. Like, basically saying that I couldn't come home after. And this was like, again, like, this was on a Sunday. I think that Wednesday I was supposed to fly to Chicago and be there for 5 days. And like, he texted me that, and it was just like weird. He's never acted that way about it before. Again, like, I feel like my dad was like breadcrumbing me a lot over the years, saying like, oh, your mom will change. I'm talking to your mom, but like, obviously nothing has changed. But it was just really weird to see that from him. And, all I can say is like, thank God my friend was there, because I don't know what I would have done. It was just like, I felt like I had lost everything. And I remember that day, I think I had to get my oil changed. It was out. And I drove to like my old like elementary school, and I was just like walking around it. And honestly, like if I had anything to like hurt myself, I think I would have that day. That's all I could like just think of in the moment. I really just wanted to go like on the playground, like where it used to be. I really wanted to just be out there, but it was all, they fenced it. And that's probably like over the years from like security issues, but it used to never be like that. So there was only so far I could go like onto the school grounds, but it was just like it was a hard walk. And it was just not good. But then I know I kind of skipped ahead, but I got that message at 7 a.m., right? And then 2 hours later, my dad texts me again, and he's like, Ketlye, that wasn't me. That was your mom who sent that. And I was like, he was like, he said, yeah, she took my phone and like texted that. And I'm like, part of me was like, well, you let her do that? But also, here's my thing, right? I think my mom doing that, and we've kind of discussed it after, and I'll get into that, but there's no way to excuse that, because one, it's just wrong, but like, you had intentions sending it from his phone, and what I came to learn later, she told me that she blocked my number. And my thing is, you could have been woman enough to call me and say that. You could have texted me that, then blocked me. Or you could have still texted from my dad's phone and said, hey, this is your mom. You had options, and that's what you did. You don't know what type of, you probably did know, she just didn't care. But like, we don't know what that does to somebody. And it obviously did a lot to me in that moment. And then like that, I was so angry, but I only had like 2 days to like really like think about that, because I had to lock in. I was at the airport at like 5 a.m. I'm traveling with my supervisors. I'm like trying to like be professional. I'm in Chicago, like, and I had a blast out there, but those were really hard 5 days. I think I barely ate, I was just working, and, came back from Chicago. And then like that same week or the next week, is the ceremony. My parents, like I said, they didn't come, but I still had a great time. But again, I had nowhere to go. And so like, I moved in with Jasmine. We moved in together, and, I was still, looking for jobs and stuff like that. And, I can't remember if me and my dad spoke at all during that time, but like, obviously me and my mom didn't. I'm talking to my grandmother, and she's like, I remember the day I had to turn in my laptop, when I was done at the time. And my grandmother told me like, if you have nowhere to go, you can't come here. Right. And I was like, yeah, I understand. And I remember, I think my mom texted me in September. I think it was like maybe Labor Day weekend or close to it. But all she said was, she was like, we're grilling this weekend, whatever. Like, if you want to come home. And the thing is, I couldn't afford to fill up my gas tank. I couldn't. And I was like, I'm not going to waste the last money I have to like go home and like, no, I'm not going to be around you. And I come to find out later, my grandmother told me that she spoke to my mom and she was like, Junior, she doesn't have any money. Like, she's trying to figure her stuff out. Like, you need to support her. Let her be home at least until she finds a job, or help her find a job. And she told my mom to reach out to me. And I mean, you doing that girl text is nothing, or you could have, or maybe if you had intentions maybe to talk to me, I don't know, say that. Cause who wants to go and visit you when like all this has happened? Right after that, because I technically had like 2 internships in one. I had like the overall organization, and they placed all the interns at these different other organizations, right? So the place where I was placed at, they said, "Hey, Ketlye, we can offer you something for right now. It's like 20 hours, like I was basically cleaning up, doing inventory of the office, right? But I was getting paid, and I was able to make some money. Then still wasn't really talking to my parents, and then I did shrooms for like one of the first times. The first time I did it, fine. And then we did it again. I did it with Jasmine and then another one of my friends I've known since I was a kid. And we did like 0.5 more of the original dose. We did like 2 grams instead of 1.5. I don't know if the potency was higher, but like the first half of the trip, it was chill. I'm vibing. And I remember I felt sick. So like I used the bathroom, I lay down, and I have like my blanket like over my head. And then Jasmine's just like holding my hand. And I wasn't like in like pain. It was like kind of nauseous. It was kind of hard to describe. But then, I'm kind of just holding her hand and like squeezing it every couple of seconds. And it reminded me of like how people squeeze their hands like for contractions when you're giving birth. And I don't know, like I said that. And I don't know, I guess in my head, it just went from one. I just basically just started thinking about my mom. And I don't know like what came over me, but it was like the only way to describe it is like giving birth to my pain. That's like the only way to describe it. And I remember I was just like crying, and like it was like I was talking to my mom, like the way Jasmine and like my friend described it. It was like I was like channeling some of her like energy. Mind you, we're all on shrooms, right? Yeah. But like it was like a sobering moment in a way too. Like, and I'm just like talking to her. I'm like it's okay to like, again, I don't know what all my mom has gone through growing up, right? But like I know being a parent isn't easy. I'm not a parent myself. I know like you, and I was saying this, it's okay to like make mistakes, but like when you, I feel like being able to like redeem yourself is a good way, like a different, what's called character redemption. I can't think of the term, but character development, right? And I was just like, but when you keep getting worse, that's when it becomes a problem. And I remember just like crying, and I could like hear my mom crying. I could like, it was really crazy. Mm-hmm. And I felt like we were like crying together. It was just, I remember like being, and I've had this memory prior to like me being, doing the psychedelics. I remember my earliest memory as a kid is like my mom driving, and I'm like, you know how they have the baby seats and you're facing the actual seat. And I remember just driving, like it's at nighttime, and like I see that we pass a gas station, and again, it really was me and my mom just growing up. So I think in that moment, I don't know if I felt connected to her, but again, like we were just like, it was like I was just channeling a lot of energy. It was really, you really just had to be there to see it. And I've never cried so hard before ever. And I remember like getting up off the couch, and there was like just so much like snot, but like I felt so much better. It felt like I again given birth to my pain.
Release in a way.
Yes, like it definitely, like for a moment after that trip, like a weight had been kind of taken off my shoulders, and in that moment I did feel like a lot of like peace and like somewhat forgiveness, right? And it made me just think of things a little bit different. I felt like I was kind of like humanizing my mom in some way. But I remember like a month or two later, my grandmother, she had to go to the hospital, and my mom, she's a teacher. She hadn't worked for like a month because she just got knee surgery, and she wasn't getting paid for that. And so no one could watch my brother. And I remember, and my Mimi, she told me this too. And she was like, yeah, your mom was trying to figure out like who's going to watch your brother. And Mimi, that's what I call her. Mimi was like, call Kétlye. And she said mom just looked like guilty. Like, cause like, why would I come and help? Right. But that's my brother. Like, I'm going to watch my brother. I love that man. I'm going to do what I need to do. So, you know, I watched him for a whole week, and that was probably like the most time I've ever like spent with him, like consecutively. And, you know, mom was thankful about it. And I'm trying to think, because I think we had an argument at some point prior to that, before that happened. But I told her about my experience on the shrooms. I told her everything that happened.
What was her response to that?
She really just like, she sat and like looked down, but I think she was listening. Okay. She didn't ask too many questions. She was like, I was like, Mom, I'm gonna tell you something. I was like, I want to tell you something, but you have to have an open mind. Like, it's gonna involve drugs. I'm sorry. Like,
yeah.
But I told her, I was just like, it was a really, as like scary as that was, because it was like, it was good
it's like
for me.
Therapeutic in a way.
It was very therapeutic. And I just told her, like, Mom, we could just be so much. I don't want to fight with you. Like, we've been in this thing for like, I think this Christmas will make it 7 years since all this happened. I was 17. I'm 24 now. Like, I told him, I'm not who I was then anymore. I feel like I've, again, put myself in your shoes. I've done everything I could, like, give some grace to me and like stop.
You know, I think, and I could be wrong, but I feel like in a twisted way, that's the only way she knows how to treat you. You know, like I think that it would take healing on her end and almost like rewiring her brain and relationship with you to have a normal, stable relationship. You know, it's like, I feel like even if there's these moments where it seems like she's listening, and there might be times in her own mind where she might want a good relationship with you, I don't know if it would be just like her own self getting in the way of that, mixed with not knowing any different.
Yeah, I've told her, I was like, Mom, like, go get therapy. Like,
I'm sure. What, is she against it?
I mean, she's done it before, like a long time ago, but I don't think.
Who even knows if she'd be honest in therapy?
I don't think,
you know, for therapy to work, you have to be honest. Yeah. And it's like, it's just crazy because you don't know what's going on in her head, what she thinks is wrong, what she thinks is right. And unfortunately, people are stubborn in their own ways.
Yeah. I think my grandmother told me, like, excuse me, I think at one point she did like try to go to therapy, or did briefly when all this was kind of happening. Maybe when I was still in college, I'm not sure. But like, I think she said like the therapist is challenging her on what she's doing to me, and you can't take that. Like, and like, it's like, you can't, if you don't even like give yourself the chance to like try to be different, and like Jasmine says this too all the time. Like, she says like shame dies in like safe spaces. And like, even though you've done all these crazy things, I'm like, even if it's not talking to a therapist, you're talking to me. Like I'm trying to forgive you, and I'm like, if we could just sit and just talk about it. I don't know what it would take. I don't know. Nothing will ever change, because again, unfortunately, I'm not done talking. So I don't know, like, just as like a mother, I don't know how she like functions. 'Cause if I had a kid and I just like know they're out there like suffering, especially because it's my fault, like, and again, who knows if she really thinks this is her fault, right? But like, but again, like she slept comfortably for what, 6 months when like I'm on the floor at night. You went to bed every night knowing that I was sleeping on the floor, and you kept it going. So yeah, after my grandmother was in the hospital, things kind of they were okay. I had that conversation with her about the trip, and I was just like, Mom, like, I was like, you need to take accountability. I did say that. I did. I was like, and I don't want like, was like, if you apologize to me right now, I don't even know if I would receive it or believe you, because you're just saying it now after all these years. But I was just like, something's got to give. Whenever you're ready, whatever. But like, I felt like I had to give her like a good talk to where it's like, again, after I really could have been like, we're done, cut you off after that summer, and I should have. But I still, again, giving you a chance to like maybe rekindle something. But we were okay. We were okay for a little bit. And then it started to get bad, like, again, I think in April.
Of last year?
This year.
Okay.
Yeah. So
recent.
Okay. Yeah, recent. So my sister, she's been asking to come visit, like come stay at my apartment. And she's done it before, like last year when my mom and grandmother came to visit. She stayed the night at my apartment. She got to meet my roommates. We were cool. We had a great time. Chill. And so Soli asked me, and I was like, I don't know, but I will ask. And I was thinking maybe it'll be okay just because, okay, like she's done it before, and I didn't have high expectations, but of course, I asked her, I was like, we would take her out, Mom. Like, if you want me to be the one driving, I'll do that. She kind of has a thing. She doesn't want her kids driving random people. I was like, I'll be the one driving. We'll take her out, just telling her what we would do or what we could do. And she's kind of silent for a little bit. And she was just like, essentially saying no. And I told her that I told Soli before that I was gay. And I know before, when I was, I think maybe in senior year, we had a conversation where she was like, well, I don't want you telling her we have to. And again, I don't fully remember that, but I know it was said. But like, that's my sister. Like, yeah. I'm gonna talk to her, and also like not even to be funny, but like, look at me. I'm a mask presenting woman. Like, she goes to public school. Like, Soli's autistic. She's not dumb. Like, yeah, like she again, she goes to public school. She probably, for all we know, she's seen somebody pregnant at school. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I remember in 8th grade, it was 7th grade, some 7th grade, a girl was pregnant in 8th grade. So we saw something like that early. So I didn't see it being an issue. And she took issue with that. That was like something she kind of had a problem with. So like that happened, and I was really upset because like I can't hang out with my sister. And here's the thing, like we have a roommate too. If you want to feel comfortable knowing your kid is somewhere else where you haven't been, you know what the first steps are? You meet the people who live there. Mm-hmm. She did the same thing when my sister stayed at college with me last year. She met my roommates, and it wasn't like we sat down and got dinner. You chatted with them. Okay, these are cool people. And I would tell you something if I did like my roommates, or if I wouldn't want my sister there. If I would die for my sister. So like, I would never put her in a situation where she's not safe. An unsafe
environment, yeah.
Yeah. So
she said no to that.
Yeah, she said no to that. That happened. And then I think later that April, I talked to my dad because in the fall, so like December 2024. And he has mentioned plenty of times too, but he was like, the car I drive now, it's like in their name, right? And they're like, we want to put that car in your name so you can start taking responsibility, right? I'm like, what, post 1 year grad, time to start being an adult, right? And at that time I was like, I want to come to him. I'm ready for that. And I was like, Dad, give me until the end of summer, because I had 3 big emergencies. One of our cats had to go to the vet like once or twice. My car, I think the tire blew out. Oh my God, it was crazy. Like, so I had a bunch of big emergencies back to back. So I was like, give me till the end of the summer. I can like save some money and just be prepared to start taking on more bills. And because I can pay this stuff, but you don't want to like start out in a bad spot, right? And that was my whole point. And I explained that to him, and he agreed. There are screenshots of him confirming. I told him that I wanted to get new tires in June. And again, he agreed. So my birthday is like May 13th. Birthday comes around. I don't get a happy birthday from any of them. And like from my mom, I'm not like surprised.
I didn't tell her Happy Mother's Day, you know? But for my dad, it was a little different. Things were kind of chippy in between then and there. I don't remember us like talking too much. But basically, my dad, he texted me the week of my birthday and he's like, oh, before I get into that, I had texted him prior saying, hey, I just don't think it's fair. Like all these years you've been, because my dad said to himself, he was like, Kelly, I don't care if your sister goes to your house or your apartment. I'm like, okay, if you don't care, say that. And I was just like, I was just texting him, you know, it's just not fair that like you're doing this. You're just letting him know how I felt, right? He didn't respond to me. And, you know, but then he randomly texts me. He's like, you know, June's coming up soon. You know, do you have this information about the car? And I'm like, well, I was like, okay, yeah, I have some of this paperwork. Yeah, but like, that's not what we agreed to. And he was like, well, we need to, and I said, well, you know, while you're reading that, did you see any of the other stuff I like sent? And again, he was ignoring that part. And so then, you know, he was just telling me, you know, call me after work. And I did. And at first he's just asking about like the car because, you know, the tire had just popped or whatever. And I'm like, you know, car's fine. And we just start talking about like how the process of getting it transferred to me. And he's like, well, Ketlye, you said that you would have it, you'd be ready by June. I was like, Dad, that's not what happened. There are screenshots. If you confirm me that is going to happen in the summer. And I was upset. And then we just started talking about what happened with my sister. And he's like, you better read those fucking text messages. I'm like, well, how about you read the text message? You've been ignoring me. And you're talking about all these extra things, but you're not getting to the root of the problem. He was saying you feel you're entitled to this car. I don't know why you're so upset right now. It's like, it's not about entitlement. Granted, I am fortunate enough to be in a position where my parents can do this for me, right? And I'm not like saying this car is mine because it's not. I didn't put any money towards that car. But like, we had an agreement, and now you're like you're literally lying and gaslighting me when you didn't agree to the date you're saying right now. And I was like, Dad, it's not even all about the car. Like, what's going on with the stuff with my sister? Like, you're just being. I was just calling him out. You're being just really like weird right now. And he was like, mind you, for so many times, my parents had threatened to like take the car from me. So many times, and then they already took it that one time, right? But he was like, man, he said to himself, if you think your mom is evil, wait till you see what I can do. I'll take the car. I'll take the phone. We can end this right now. And like, one thing my therapist said when I told her, she was like, have you ever said that your mom was evil to your dad? And I was like, I don't think so. Like, I think you could, I don't know if I've thought it before, but like, given everything, you can kind of say that. But like, for him to say that, it's like, okay, you know what's going on, what's wrong, why... It's just his behavior is so odd. I don't understand it. But it was just really bad arguing. And I was like, if you want the car, then take it. Cause
it's not even worth it. This at that point.
Yeah. I'm like, if you want to, I'm an adult. I'll figure it out. Yeah. It might be hard. I work remote still. Right. And it's just like, if it's like that, take the car. It's not even worth it. And so even though like we had this agreement, he said, Ketlye, I laid it out again for him why I wanted like that specific timeline so I could get my stuff together. And he was just like, okay, Ketlye, get your shit together. And then I think like a week before, we had like an anniversary trip planned out in June. And, you know, I had my money budgeted for that, whatever. And then my mom, mind you, we haven't talked like since April. So she texted me, she's like, the car needs to be in your name by June 13th. If not, like, you need to bring it back here. And I was just like, fine. So I sent my dad all the paperwork he needed. All I had to do was just sign a few things, right? And I was like, when we were going to meet, I told him to come to the DMV, like where we're at. But they're like, no, you gotta come there. I'm like, all right, fine. So I was like, we're going to meet here. We're going to meet there first thing in the morning. We'll get this done. So enrolled in car insurance like during our anniversary trip. I paid it, whatever, right? The day I was enrolled, like, Dad, I'm enrolled in insurance. And the day before I'm supposed to go out there, he calls me and he's like, Ketlye, we can't find like the title, or I don't know where it's at. I'm gonna have to order a new one.
And I'm just like, it's just so crazy. It's like, if we just stuck to the original timeline, you could have realized, I don't have the title. Let me go get it or something, right? And it was just so annoying because it was like end all be all if the car's not in your name. And look, I did all this and like, here's where we're at. So I looked up information about like, how long does it take? Like, cause he said he ordered it the 16th. And I looked up, it takes like maybe 10 to 15 business days for it to get here. So on that 15th day, no title. He didn't have it. So part of me was like, did he even order it? Is it even really missing? I don't know. I can't trust you. You're literally lying. And like, that's kind of new with me and my dad. Cause like, we try to keep it real. I feel like we do generally. So it was just, again, just like really disappointing. I was just like so enraged because it's just like, you know, if I messed up in that way, that would be my ass. Like it would be all on me. And then the following week, my grandmother had to go to the hospital again. And she called me. My grandmother called me to let her know the ambulance is coming, whatever. And I call mind you, my mom has told me that she hasn't blocked me, but like, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know if you know, but like sometimes when like, and she has an iPhone, when the message is that little arrow to send it, like if it's green, I know sometimes like it can do its signal if her phone is dead, but it was just an odd amount of time. Like I felt like I was blocked. Yeah. And it was just really weird. So I had to text her I'm like calling her on Messenger. My dad didn't pick up first. So I was like texting, calling her Messenger. I'm like, you need to pick up now. Like Mimi's on the way to the hospital. And she got back to me. She said she was in the shower. She'd like missed it, whatever. But they're telling me like, I told them I'll be there. I'm going to leave my house in the next like 30 minutes. And they were telling me like, no, like you don't need to come. They were telling you, like, they were trying to stop me from coming. I was like, you guys aren't going to tell me that I can't come. My dad was like, I don't want any drama between you and your mom. I was like, I said, you tell your wife that like, you keep it to a minimum, like put our stuff to the side. Mimi's in the hospital. That's what's more important right now. And they really tried to stop me from coming. And I remember I got there and my mom was there. Mind you, we haven't spoken since like April. Okay. And
this was June?
This one was July.
Okay.
Yeah. I walk in there and like, you know, me and my mom, we didn't say anything to each other. But then she was like, well, we'll come outside and we'll talk. And I was like, oh. And she was just kind of updating me on like, just like health stuff with my grandmother, what they're doing, what's yet to come, whatever. And she's just like, well, how are you doing? How's it been? And I'm like, I've been better. I didn't know what to say. I feel like this summer has been so like just rageful for me. Like, cause we have just like, I'm calling them. No one's picking up. I've called my dad. Like he will ignore my calls about the title. It's just like, and it's different. It's different for him. He's really messed up because now, and I'll explain this more in a second, but now I see him as like equal as my mom, at least how bad it is, because it's always been him above her. But this is a little new. I've never been mad at my dad like this. And so I don't know. But Mimi comes home. My mom leaves. She's not even working either. I would think she would stay there the whole time, right? But she left, and I'm the one who took her home. And you know, we're eating, and I called my mom, and I'm like, well, listen, I wasn't able to come hang out last week. I was like, can I take my sister out and hang out with her? And she said no. And I was like, well, why not? And then she hung up the phone. And that, like, I told my grandmother, I was like, listen, I have to go over there. Like, I'm tired of this. Like, it feels like when we fight, it's like, what's it called? Like you're throwing rocks and like hiding your hands. Like, no, like we need to confront this now. And so I went over there. They didn't know. And what they don't know is that I recorded that conversation. I have like an hour and like 30 minutes worth of like audio file of how that entire thing went. And I mean, it just explosive. Cause one, they're like, well, why are you here? Like we told you not to come. No one told you to come here specifically. And I'm like, I'm trying to figure out what the issue is. Like, you're not letting me talk to my sister. You're not letting me hang out with her. Like, what is the problem? I know at one point, like my mom, we were like in each other's faces, and I was telling her, I was like, do something. I feel like she wanted to hit me in that moment. And I told her, I was like, I know you can't, and I know you won't, just because like, one, I'm an adult now. So like if you hit me, there's different stipulations, and two, I can fight back now. So like, I didn't want her to, but like, we were if I did this, we could have butted heads, literally. And they were trying to usher me out at one point. I think I brought up because I was like, why? Dad told me that I couldn't come because you guys were fighting. And then she looked at him and she was like, what the is she talking about? What are you telling her? And so I think I realized in that moment that Dad had lied. And I think they were fighting, but like that wasn't why I couldn't come over. I think it was, I can't remember how she like explained it, but basically if I took my sister out, someone, I think they were both going to be gone too. Someone wouldn't have been able to watch while something like that. It made sense, but I'm just like, okay, why didn't you just say that last week? So that makes me feel like, okay, Dad, you have your own like intentions on like, apparently, because when we had been arguing a little bit early in the summer, he was like, I'm not going to ruin my marriage for you. I'm like, his
marriage should have nothing to do with you.
It does. I'll challenge you on that a little bit, just because bringing it back up, like if you, because again, he's told me in confidence that he doesn't like the way my mom treats me. He doesn't like how it is. So if you hate that, why won't you do something about it? Like it's not only making my life miserable.
It's his choice.
It is. And like he's had so much time to change. And I'm just like, if you want to live like that, then fine, right? But we had to like, I was like, Mom, that's what he told me. So like he's lying to one of us. So it was funny in the moment. I mean, just like full volume, like we're really explosive argument, just hateful stuff. My mom, I told her how she's like, you're not picking up the phone. That's why I'm like blowing it up. And like, we're already not in a good like way. So if I'm calling you, it's important. And she's like, Ketlye, you're not blocked. I'm watching you call. I'm declining, or I'm just letting it ring. And I'm just like, what's wrong with you? And, you know, she said, if I'm fighting with someone and they do something wrong, you know, it's like, if you die, I don't care. I don't gotta talk to you. So that was just like weird, because it felt like it was like, you're saying that to me, like, if you died. That's how I took that.
So this all was happening in July.
End of July.
Last month.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where everything is standing now still? Was that like the last interaction you had with them?
Yes. Again, you see how crazy of a summer it's been? I can't even like wrap it all up. And that's what's hard. Like we're still, there's no pin on anything right now. I feel like we're all just like.
And the thing is, there might never be.
I don't think so either.
You know, like it's not something, I feel like it seems like, you know, obviously the whole story with them goes in waves.
Yeah.
You know, and it's unfortunate and it sucks, but it's almost like you have to find a place for yourself where it's healthiest for you. Yeah. And if that means not speaking to them, then that's what it has to be. And obviously there has to be a way for you to navigate it with your siblings so that you can still have some sort of relationship with them and maybe just be distant with your parents or cordial or whatever it has to be so that you can maintain that relationship that means something to you.
Yes.
But I mean, at this point, it's like did she bite you?
Yeah, it's fine.
At this point, you know, it's something where you have to navigate what's best for you and your mental health. And they are very lucky and fortunate that you're a very forgiving person, because a lot of people would hate their guts.
I think that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
I think like I've shown compassion.
And it's
mercy.
Okay to go through different emotions.
Yeah.
Never be hard on yourself about that, because they've put you through it. You know, so you have to give yourself some grace.
Yes.
With all the different whirlwind of emotions that you're going to be feeling. Yeah. But I think it's at a point where you need to stop giving them grace and give yourself grace.
Yeah. I think that was I think like a week leading up to this, I was kind of like, not that I still want to do it, but a part of me was like, you know, is this going to like, how are they going to feel? Or like, how is it going to affect them? Or like, one thing, if they ever do see this, right? Who knows when? But I know the first thing's going to be like, you guys, or you weren't thinking about us. But I'm like, you know, you didn't think about me at all during any of this stuff. Like remotely again, like,
well, this is your life and your truth.
Yeah.
And there's so many other people that experience things similar to this.
Yes.
And deserve to feel like they're not alone. I mean, the amount of times throughout this story that you've said that you felt isolated, imagine someone when you were that age, being able to hear this and feeling not so alone and not so isolated. Like, you're going to change someone's life.
Yes.
You know, and they couldn't provide that for you at that time of your life. So if you can provide that to someone you don't even know, that's incredible. That's why you're here, you know, to share your truth and to help other people. It's not you're not here to bash them, to make them look bad on the internet. You're here to share your story, to help people and to help yourself. Yeah. You deserve to be able to tell your story.
Yeah. I think it's just been hard, like, wrestling with it, just because at least like the physical stuff didn't bother me too much because I was able to still, and I'm still able to rationalize it. I shouldn't, right? Because that was pure abuse. But like, at least that stuff, it's because I did something wrong. Now it feels like you're just punishing me for who I am as a person.
It's horrible.
Like, yeah. And so I expected to come on here that things would be kind of wrapped up, but it's gotten significantly worse. I think I don't know what happens next, but I am trying to figure out how that really, again, balancing how I'm with my siblings. If I don't have to talk to you guys, I won't. Like, just the other day, I'm trying to get my sister, take her out. Yo Gabba Gabba Live's coming to where we're at, and I just she loves it, you know, want to take her, and it was almost a battle just trying to get that together. And my mom's like, you need to be calling your father. You don't have to talk about me. You can talk about this through your dad. I'm like, I'm literally calling him. He won't pick up the phone.
And I think it's one of those things that as long as your siblings know how you feel about them and that you're always there, you know, that's the most important thing. And I feel like the next part in your healing journey should be all about you and not about them, not about how they feel.
100%.
You know, I feel like your whole life has been focused around that.
100%. The only thing I'm somewhat nervous about is the day, because I don't know if they'll see this. I don't even think a podcast like this would come across their algorithm, right? But all it takes is like someone who may recognize me. I don't know. I'm worried that they'll use this as like a way to like not let me see my siblings. And I don't know how that looks. And I am prepared for that. But again, like, I don't know I don't know the laws. I don't know how that works. Again, and I told my sister, I was like, if mom lays a hand on you, like, and if you see something happening questionable to Wallace, you tell me, and I will step in, because someone should have stepped in when I was a kid, and like, God forbid they go through. I don't think they will, but also I don't know. You know,
you can only do your best. Yeah. You know, it's a lot of pressure to put on yourself.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like you're trying to break this cycle, but then you're also trying to live your life. You're still, how old are you?
I'm 24.
Yeah.
I'm just starting.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, it's a lot. It's a lot to juggle. And then on top of it, you're trying to heal, you know, and then still trying to have a relationship with them and your siblings. And it's so much.
Yeah. This summer's been really hard. I haven't been depressed like this. I want to say like since like my senior year of high school. Yeah. I haven't felt like this.
It feels helpless. It's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
There is no answer, I don't think. And I think that's the most frustrating part of it all.
I really wanted to come on here and like tell you this is the end. And unfortunately, I know it's going to look new, but I don't know. I wish I had a definitive answer right now. All I can ask for, and I told him this, I was like, I don't care what happens after, what our relationship looks like after. You let me see my siblings, and that's it. And of course, you know, I'm going to have my relationship with my grandmother, but they can't control that. But that's all I want. Literally, Dev, if my parents gave me a stipend or something, like, I'll take the kids from you. Like, if you don't, sometimes it feels like they don't want to be parents in a way. I don't know. And I don't know. But like, if I had the money to just take them.
Yeah.
I know how I felt growing up. They definitely don't deserve that. Especially like when Wallace was born, like, I remember I told you I was mad. But then I remember when my mom showed me him on FaceTime, I'm like crying. I'm like, I've never cried from like half his like that's my brother. And I just want what's best for them. And
of course,
even after all this, like, I used to say I still want like a relationship with my parents, or like maybe an apology and we can move forward. But now I think, because this summer's just been so ugly, I don't know, because sometimes it's too late. I feel like it's too late for sorry sometimes.
And that's what hurts the most. Like, I thought I would always have like a capacity to forgive, but now it's like.
Well, life also goes through different eras, you know, and right now that just might not be where they're at and where you're at. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. And I wouldn't hold hate in your heart, you know, but I would just realize within your own mind, it's not the time, you know, and that might change in a couple years, 5 years, 10 years, who knows? But right now you might not be able to provide that forgiveness. Yeah. And that's not bad either. You're just not there. And they're not reciprocating that. They're not giving you a reason to want to forgive. Like, and there's nothing wrong with the way that anybody chooses to handle anything when it comes to their healing and their process. Like I said before, like, just don't ever beat yourself up about that or feel like maybe if I did this or that, like, none of that is on you. That's not a decision you need to make. Yeah. And I think, like I said before, I feel like your point of coming here, I don't think it needs to be to have an answer, but more so just to spread awareness and speak your truth and speak your story. Yes. And to know that you're going to help other young kids, because there's so many kids that feel isolated and like they can't talk to their own parents. Yeah. And it's shitty and it sucks. They need to know, like, it's not that it's normal, because it's not, but there's other people out there that understand it.
Yes. I hope that if, like, of course I know people my age or younger would probably watch this, but like, I hope, like, if parents ever come across, I'm sure they're part of your audience, right? But like, don't just, like, if you want to have a child and you don't think you could love them through anything, or at least specifically them being gay, their sexuality, whatever, like, you don't need to have one. Like, my parents feel like bullies. It's like bullying. And
oh, it's horrible, you know? And I think that there is a different type of hurt and pain in something like that, because, you know, like you said, it's like the abuse is physical. Saying some things and doing some things, it's like that might be the emotional aspect of the abuse. But then having the people that are supposed to love you most not even be able to accept who you are because of who you love is pathetic.
Yeah, very.
Like, you're going to let that be a factor of why we can't see eye to eye and have a loving relationship? It makes no sense. Like, people need to get a grip.
100%. And one more thing I do want to say. Yeah. It still has to do with it, but it's a little random. Yesterday we went to the African American History Museum in DC, and we were only able to get through, like, I didn't realize how massive. I don't know if you've been or if you've seen the layout, but like we only went through like the first floor, and that's like in the basement. And I didn't realize how intricate it would be. But like, I think Black people specifically being homophobic is really, I hate it. I mean, any homophobia is stupid, right? But like, as a people, we've already been like discriminated against, horribly treated bad, again, for like who we are. I can't control like my skin color, just like I can't control like my sexuality. And knowing that like our people have been through that same thing, and then you're just doing it again. It's like, you're supposed to know what this feels like, right? Yeah. Granted, the reasons are different why, you know, people are racist and there's homophobia, but like, well, no, they're kind of intertwined. But anyway, coming from my mom, especially when she talked about as a kid, she, like, my mom, she's a dark skinned woman, and my mom is beautiful. You know, like, I look just like her. You know, she just get made fun of as a kid for like by her own other Black, you know, people just as dark as her, and just getting made fun of for her skin color. And it's like, okay, you know what it's like to be treated like crap from people who are supposed to like be there for you in some way. Why are you perpetuating the same thing on me? Right? Again, different reasons, different circumstances, but somewhat one and the same. Yeah. And I think Black homophobia is just really like, it's disgusting, because it breaks my heart, right? I know it's kind of random, but it's just like, when you just see everything, we saw so much yesterday. And again, we didn't even like make it through the first floor all the way. And it's just like,
it just puts things into perspective.
Yeah. And it really sucks. I don't know. I know it's kind of random, but
no, not at all.
I don't know. I hope that if my parents, they do come across this, they watch the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And again, I'll say this to them. Don't, if you watch this, if you see it, don't talk to me until you watch the whole thing. And like, just, I don't know, maybe get a grip and see it. But who knows, Dev? They might see this, might be like, sheep, and just see right through it. Yeah. And all they see is it's all about them. It's all about them.
And you can't take any of it personally.
No.
And you shouldn't. Mm-hmm. And, I tell everybody this, and this goes beyond just what you spoke about here, but anything that anybody says, whether it's comments or from this video in general in life, people that don't agree with you, whatever it might be, you're not on this earth to live for other people. Like, thanks. You are here for you, and it is okay to be selfish. Mm-hmm. You need to find your purpose. You need to find your happiness, and whatever that may be, you do it, and never allow someone else's opinion to steer you in a different direction.
100%.
Like, always, I think we live in a life, especially now with social media, it's like validation and people pleasing and being accepted and this, that, and the other. Fuck all of that. None of it matters.
Yeah.
Seriously. Like, the only thing we can do is bring like light and love. And I feel like I always say, like, that's one of the reasons I created this platform, so that people just have a little bit more authenticity.
Yes.
And things are spoken about that are usually brushed under the rug or filtered in a way. Like, none of that needs to matter.
Yes.
And I feel like the only thing I hope for you and all of the people that come on here is that you guys just stay so authentic to you. Yes. And I think that it's so easy, especially when you're raised in an environment where you're just beaten down mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever it is. It's so incredible to me.
Yes.
That you guys are able to sit across from me and be these amazing people. Really, because you could turn out the complete opposite. Angry, bitter, mean, like not wanting to help others. Yes. And the fact that you're still so genuine, and like, you might not think that you're healed, and maybe the situation with them isn't. Mm-hmm. And the healing journey is never actually done. I don't think you're always changing and developing and healing as we go on every day. But you should be so proud of the person that you are. Like, you are just so kind and genuine and sincere, and you still have so much love to give when love wasn't shown to you in the ways that it should be. And you should give yourself a lot of credit for that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm trying, trust me, I'm trying to like not lean into that, because it gets dark.
It's negative.
Yeah.
You don't need to be around anything negative. Mm-hmm. And you've tried. That's all you can do. Stop trying.
Yeah.
Focus on you.
100%.
That would be my advice. Not that I'm saying to take it. But that's what I'm giving.
No, I'm going to. I'm ready to, like, again, this has been the most unsummer ever. I want to have fun. I want to like be happy and like find my own way. So I'm just gonna try to accept like whatever this new chapter is and like move forward. Because like there are times where I didn't think I'd make it past 25. Right. I thought I would like honestly just kill myself at some point. But like I have so much more to live for than like I realized. So like I just have to like lock in and like accept that if they don't want to be a part of it, then it's on them. It really is their loss. So,
and they're missing out because you're amazing. Truly.
Well, thank you for giving me the platform to do that. I think
of course. And if you ever write a book,
yeah,
let me know. Send it my way. I'd be happy to promote it for you. Talk about it, whatever you want. Mm-hmm. And honestly, of course. Thank you.